Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the fuck back to the Burning Barrel podcast. As always, I'm your host, Paul, and with me is Hank.
Yo!
It's been about a month. How have you been?
I've been pretty good.
That's good to hear. I've been dealing with cancer.
Great.
Like,
Fun times.
not me, obviously. Because if
Yeah.
I were, boy, I would have made a bigger stink about it on social media. Holy shit. That would, like, anytime anybody would say anything, I would just, like, reply with, yeah, well, I have cancer. Like, I would have been a dick about it. But no. So, the last time we took a pretty long hiatus, it was because my grandfather was dying and then decided to, like, just end it and then die about 2 days later. So that was all a nice kind of fucking walk in the park, like, just bullshit week. And then I had, like, funeral arrangements and stuff like that, so I was gone for about 2 weeks worth of time.
Yeah.
And shortly thereafter, my grandmother decided that she would be diagnosed with cancer when she went into the doctor, and we've been dealing with that ever since. Now, fortunately, she is not in any pain.
That's
Nothing's really changed except that she's, like, in, like, a hospice care near my parents' house, up about 3 hours to 4 hours from where I live, which makes it a pain in the ass for me to go visit and whatnot. But like, no pain, just spending a lot of time with family and chatting with people and stuff like that. And she's accepted it. Everybody by this point has accepted it. We've all kind of, like, went, chatted, hung out, like, got to say our goodbyes and stuff. Like, if something happened right now, basically we're all leaving on good terms and it feels okay. That is a huge, I gotta say, like, if you should always do that, because it's a huge difference in just how you, like, live the rest of your life. Because, like, before like, my grandfather got sick and I was like, okay, like, well, it's not life, like, it's life-threatening, but, like, it's not bad yet, so, like, I'll finish up my work week in 2 more days here, and then I'll come up and I'll spend the weekend, and, like, it'll be good. And then, like, I get a phone call 4 hours later, basically being like, no, this is it. He's gonna be dying, like, within the next 10 hours. And I'm just like, well, fuck. Like, what do you even do at that point? I'm stuck at work here, like, alone, and nobody gives a shit anyways, because, I mean, I don't expect them to. They're not my family. I don't want them to give a shit, honestly. I don't want any of their, like, pity stuff or any of that stuff. But, like, you get a phone call, you're stuck in a place you don't want to be at the best of times, and, like, you're tired because you don't sleep very well because of a shitty bed and stuff, and then it's like, well, I don't even get to say goodbye, and that's just kind of, like, haunting you. It's been fucking trash. This whole process, though, with my grandma has been, like, totally okay in a weird way, and I'm just super happy about that. Like, that's why it's like, I can't even be mad, you know? Like, if shit happens, it's gonna happen. I got, like, my last weekend. I'm still gonna try to get up whenever I can and whatnot to go see them and stuff, but, like, we're on good terms. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I've been at, to, like, put it a little lightly. Like, some other shit's been happening, but none of that's important. That's all just stuff that, like, with time and money, all other problems go away. So, yeah, that's where I've been, but I'm glad to hear you're okay.
yeah. Things are pretty much the same for me.
Yeah.
So things are fine.
No news is good news. I think that's what they say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, I got news for you.
What?
I'm vaping now.
I've heard.
You've heard people talk about it. You've heard me talk about it. You've literally heard the vaporizer.
Yeah. All three. All
Yeah.
of the above.
Yeah. So, it's
So
not
you've got your Vape Nation membership card yet?
Not yet. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting in the mail. This isn't the first time I've, like, done a vaporizer type thing or e-cigarette type thing. I will say this is the first time it hasn't killed me. Absolutely. Because, like, I don't talk about it a lot because it wasn't a big deal for a long time, and then vaporizing became, like, mainstream some weird time in the last like year. But like
Yeah.
years ago, back in probably like 2007 or 8 or something, me and a friend at work were like thinking, oh, we should really quit smoking or whatever. And he's like, have you heard in China they're like making these like electronic cigarette things? They basically just like burn a oil thing or whatever. And like this wasn't even this was before a time where you could even like refill them. You would buy like these like electrical like ends basically, and it would have everything built in, and you would have to like throw the end out and then put a new one on that you would have to like order from China as well. So long story short, he's like, I'm interested in this, I'm gonna get one, do you want me to get you one as well so we can save on shipping? I said absolutely. It worked probably for about a week. It was weak as fuck though, like the nicotine levels weren't that high, it tasted like shit. And we found out a few months later that as more people were trying those, they were like exploding in people's pockets and stuff, so we threw them out.
Great.
Yeah, so that was a long time ago. And then after that, I tried another time where I just had like a smaller vaporizer sort of thing. It was about actually probably 8 months ago I bought one just like at a kiosk in a mall, so it was super cheap. And it was fine for a while. The end of it broke though, like where you put your lips and like the vape is supposed to come out of. So I just kind of like gave up on that and didn't think really much about it. This time I spent a little bit more money than I was expecting to. Got something that's like actually heavy, like heavier than like a paperweight even, so it has some good girth to it. And every time I've used it, I can choose how much smoke I get. I can choose like which juices and stuff I'm smoking for more nicotine, less nicotine, different flavors. The flavors are much better than they ever were before from what I remember. Like it's actually been a pretty good experience, all things considered.
That's cool.
Yeah. People that say Vape Nation are fucking stupid though. Like people that are super into that thing, non-ironically. I'm into it ironically, obviously.
Yeah. But I look at that stuff like fucking anything. People get super into fucking anything. They go too far with it.
It's true. And we'll talk about some media habits in the last couple of weeks that I can describe that about. But yeah, some people get way too into it.
It's like, I mean, it's like a similar like example is like I have like the shittiest keyboard you can buy. It's like cost me $10.
Actually, on that note, I have a Microsoft keyboard that came free with like Windows XP that like somebody had laying around their house that I got for free. It works perfectly fine.
Yeah. So, but I like this keyboard, like the shift key. I sort of overuse it and it gets stuck sometimes. So I've been thinking about getting a new keyboard. So every time I like try to research keyboards, and I don't want to spend too much money, but like you find people that talk about keyboards only want to like cheap keyboards are like $100 to them. It's fucking infuriating.
Yeah. Why don't you just ask Spart for one of his? Because maybe like I don't have the heart to tell him. Maybe it's something with his like firmware or like his drivers or something. Like, what are the chances that 3 keyboards would all have different problems?
I don't know. Maybe there's probably a percentage on that. I don't know. I also felt like I hear a lot of stories of people with these high-end things and them breaking. So,
I mean, okay. So before I got this free keyboard, and the reason I got it actually was because I used to have a gaming keyboard. It was a Logitech G1015. Let me see here. Logitech G10 keyboard. What's that? I don't know. It was one of these ones with like, it was super old. I got it when like I was playing a lot more WoW than ever before, so probably around 2006-ish, and it only died last year. So like 9 years for a single keyboard, I think that's pretty good quality, and at the time I probably spent about $150 on it.
yeah.
So $150 for 9 years worth of like constant use because I'm a PC gamer is not bad, but I don't think you get that quality anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the kind of like when I read that stuff, like the way people they talk about keyboards and mechanical and all this stuff, it like infuriates me. I'm like, fuck it. I'm buying the cheapest fucking thing I can find.
Yeah,
If that works, that's fucking great.
and it does, right?
And it does. Like I
Yeah.
don't have a problem. I don't drives me. It's like I like theoretically I use my fucking keyboard all the time. There's
Yeah.
like a world in which it would make sense to put a little more money into it, but not a fucking $100. That's a lot.
The only thing I ask for a keyboard is it not be like a flat key keyboard, like a laptop or something. I hate those. That's all I ask. I don't need mechanical keys. I don't need like weighted anything. Like I just need them to jut out of the keyboard a little bit so I know where the keys are easy. And then I'm good. That's it. Oh, also I need a numpad.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Numpads are super important to me. Mainly because, like, in the line of work I've been doing for, like, the last, I think, 9 to 10 years, I've used the numpad every single day for, like, hours. So it's just, like, the way I enter numbers now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like when I've looked at like buying bicycles, and the fucking people who talk about bicycles are fucking crazy too. It's just like one
Yeah.
of those things. You go if you try and find information, you find too much. You can't find like that right middle ground of like.
And they all say the same thing. Like, according to people that are into a thing, every single product is good for it.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's actually good. Like, that's the problem is, like, I want to buy a bike. Okay, best bikes under, like, I don't know, 300 or 400 or whatever you're going to spend. You'll
Yeah.
get, like, 1,000 different reviews for every type of different bike, and they'll all be 4 to 5 stars.
Yeah, it's too much information, and it's not actually helpful information.
Yep. Exactly. Speaking of non-helpful information, again, welcome to the Burning Barrel Podcast,
Yay!
where we are going to talk a lot of shit. And I'll start off. Let's talk about Golf with Friends.
Okay.
The Blacklight Interactive two-man team, I think it's a two-man team anyways, mini putt game that is sweeping the nation by storm. And by nation, I mean, like, a couple streamers I've seen play it and, like, our group.
Uh-huh.
But I think the thing I like about Golf with Friends is how simple it is to like play. Like, it makes sense. I mean, we can talk about weird things, but like that game seems like it's in alpha right now, but it seems like it has a solid groundwork for a lot of crazy stuff to come, including Steam Workshop, like custom levels.
Yeah. Like just the mechanics of that thing are just good. Like they just make sense and they work for the most part.
Yeah. Not to say there aren't problems. There are multiple problems with that game. Like, I'm sure it happens whenever you make a physics-based thing. So, it's going to happen. The devs are super, super chill dudes who, like, anytime I ask them anything, will respond on Twitter within, like, half an hour.
That's pretty great.
Which is dope as fuck, because I hate it when devs don't respond to some, like, indie devs, I mean. Obviously, like, if I say, hey, Blizzard, can I get Overwatch for free? They're gonna ignore me. But, like, they're super cool about that. They're very big into, like, their community and spreading the word and stuff, so they're retweeting people that even just say Golf with Friends and stuff and are, like, playing it and all that sort of stuff. So, it's, I don't know. The whole thing is really, really cool, but the funnest thing so far for me is that we threw a tournament.
Yep.
Burning Barrel Open Invitational, Open Classic, I guess was technically what it was called, for Golf with Friends. And I think it went really well considering some of the constraints we had. Challenge decided to shit itself as I was loading it up. I can explain maybe a little bit in detail what happened. So what happened is I had the full roster in there, and it automatically, like, put a seed in for, like, how everybody's gonna go and all that sort of stuff. And then when I went to go start it, it deleted everybody except for 2 people.
Great.
So I had to manually add them back in, and when I did, it wound everything, even though we had already started with the first match. So I kind of like was scrambling in the background as like I was doing like the streaming part of it to like fix the roster and start like just scribbling on any paper I could find. I ended up scribbling on the back of my Baron Lighthammer D&D sheet, actually. So, yeah.
I feel like Challenge screws up like every time I see someone run a tournament with it. Just something goes wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not great, but it's like the only thing that I can think of to use for this sort of thing. I probably won't ever again after that.
Yeah.
Because that, like, I've just had enough, honestly. I'll just use a spreadsheet.
Exactly.
Yep. So, thanks, Challenge. You really fucked things over for me, but that's fine. Tony Zetashade, or however you know him, was kind enough to also stream some of the games on his channel, which was super cool and like helped expedite a lot of the standings things. Obviously, like, I mean, putting the VODs up on YouTube from Twitch. If you want to watch all the VODs, they're on Twitch, and you can just go to my video section, and they're all there highlighted and split already. But if you don't, they're on YouTube as well. I'm not going to take the ones from Tony's channel, because I'll just like have a link to them if people want to watch from that perspective and stuff like that. Like, the games were fun. They were funny. Everybody that showed up, I thought, was having a pretty good time. We made a meme out of Knight of Servia, which was pretty great.
It's pretty good.
He got fucked, though. Like, there were some shots that looked like they were just bullshit, which led to everybody just saying, like, anytime you get screwed over now in a video game from your own stupidity, you got Servia'd.
You got Servia'd.
Yeah. So, there you go, Servia. You're now a meme. I hope you enjoy. That's my gift to you.
Congratulations. It's not the worst case of a person being memed I've ever seen. So,
yeah,
you got that going for you.
It's not actually that bad, all things considered. I'm not going to explain, spoiler explain who won, because the VODs are there, and, like, I'm just going to say go watch them. If you listen to what we're saying in the VODs right from the get-go, you probably know who's going to win. But,
yeah.
It was a good game nonetheless, and they're funny. Like, just the banter and, like, the, like, missed shots and the screaming and stuff like that. Like, they're funny to rewatch, so I'm super, super glad we got to do that. I'm just kind of, like, bummed out there wasn't a spectator mode.
Yeah, it just feels like there definitely should be, just because you can spectate. It, like, the functionality is already in the game once you've finished.
And
I mean, it just sounds like the devs haven't had time to get to that yet.
Right, and they were... Did you see the tweet where they were, like, super bummed about it or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can't even remember what it said, but it was something just, like, along the lines of, we had, like, a tragedy or something.
Yeah. Like, real life, personal shit got in the way.
And that, well, yeah, but, like, for just a game thing, it sounds like they were trying to, like, push something in the new patch they're going to be releasing, and it broke literally everything.
Like, they have bugs they need to work out first.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was funny. It was a funny thing to read, and I was just like, you know what? I can't even be mad because that response is so good. I hope you guys do more golf, whether or not a tournament thing. That is definitely the plan. We didn't even do the final round of golf because we were so over time.
Yeah, the time was not estimated correctly. That took way longer than I could have thought, really. Fucking, I always forget how fucking long double elimination tournaments are. They always take forever.
You know, I've run a few of them now, and I do too. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, okay, well, like, at most, this is probably going to take, like, 4 hours, and it ends up turning into, like, 7. Like, it turns into a long fucking time. It's not even the double elimination part. It's that I always forget that even after, like, both sides of the winners and losers bracket are done, they still have to play each other. There's still the final, like...
Yeah.
There's always one more game I forgot about. I think the way that we did the losers bracket worked in our favor though, with putting 3 people against each other, and then like doing the last few games, and then the last 3 people against each other. Because at the end of the day, like, whatever, everybody got their second chance for glory, and then the people that did good in their second chance got a third chance against 2 other people, and then if they did good there, they would move on.
Yeah.
It worked out somehow.
Everything we did to cut time was good because people were starting to. I could feel it. People were getting tired by the end of that thing.
Oh, dude, I was tired. I was like, I never want to see golf again. I'm so done with golf forever. But
No, that'll be a good thing to revisit when there are more maps, more courses.
yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited for customization coming in the game. I'm super excited for them opening it up to Steam Workshop community stuff eventually when it's stable. And like the crazy amount of shit we can see when that happens.
Yeah. Just thinking about it.
I just like, if you want a mini putt game, you should buy this game. It's $6. The devs are super, super cool. Like, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Also, like, maybe we'll throw something else. I don't know. You could join the Burning Barrel Steam page and see for yourself when stuff happens. Apparently, I set it to private, and
Weird.
that, yeah, I'm an idiot because somebody's like, hey, like, can you invite me to the community? Like, they just said this, like, yesterday. And I was like, oh, no, dude, just join it. Like, it's fine. It's open to anybody. They're like, no, it isn't. And I was like, oh, shit. No wonder we haven't had any growth at all. But, yeah, golf. That's a thing. Not to spoil anything, but, like, congratulations to Comet SX as well, who kind of came out of nowhere because I don't think we had played with him before, and apparently he's a prodigy.
Apparently.
But did he win? I don't know. Maybe you should check out the VODs and see for yourself.
I wonder who could have won.
I wonder. You didn't do too good, I gotta say.
Nope. I'm not that good at that game. Honestly.
That's
I'm
fair.
just not.
One of the problems I have, and I kind of got over it when like I just ended up playing like 30 hours of it somehow, is that there's a weird bell curve in your power where like the power between 0 and 1 on your power meter isn't nearly as strong as the power between 1 and 2, even though it's the same distance. Like it exponentially increases. And it's weird. It's a weird thing to get used to.
The thing that really fucks me up is like if I miss, I get really stubborn and just keep trying over and over again to hit the same shot, and that racks up my score on a couple of holes. That's just how it goes for me.
Yeah.
I get stuck.
Yeah.
Tunnel visioned. And I just want to fucking do this one thing correctly.
Yeah. Where you're just like, I know I can make this jump or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
But like at that point, like if you're far behind enough anyways, you'll just do it. Like you'll go for it enough times because you don't care anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. So what else have you been doing? That's actually more recent. Let's go back in time a little bit.
Back in time. I played a lot of video games.
Yeah, you played Okay. A lot of them are betas that we can talk about together, so that's fine. I'd like to hear your opinion on Pokken, because we actually haven't talked about this at all.
Nope. So, Pokken Tournament. My short answer is, I think it's a good fighting game for people who haven't played fighting games.
Okay.
Like, as a fighting game for kids, or like a fighting game for people who just like Pokemon and aren't into fighting games, I think it actually works pretty well because you never have to do any of the... Because it's simple. You never have to do any quarter turn moves or anything. It's
Right.
built for a D-pad. Like it's arcade controller that you can fucking buy, and I did because I like dumb controllers.
Hmm.
Works. It just has a D-pad and then buttons on the side. Like it's always just holding a direction and then hitting a button. That's how you do your moves. So it's like a more successful idea of a beginner fighting game compared to Rising Thunder. I think like this works in a way Rising Thunder didn't in terms of just being accessible and
Sure.
like working and sort of teaching you certain things about fighting how fighting games work. Um, I find the switching between two perspectives thing, it's a little weird, but honestly, you get used to it.
See,
Because
that's what I hated. I couldn't wrap my mind around because I watched some people play it. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I just wanted Tekken with Pokemon, and that is not this.
yeah, I too wanted Tekken with Pokemon, and I'm disappointed that it's not that. But what it is fine. It's not something I'm ever going to be super into, but I think it works for what it is, and
Yeah.
I kind of get why they made it that way. In terms of it's more accessible to people who aren't super into fighting games. I honestly wish there were more. The biggest thing for me is like I wish there were more like story or rapping in it, but it's pretty fucking character bland.
Okay.
It's the biggest bummer for me in terms of like it's just like its story thing is structured around just you ranking up in tournaments and fighting over and over, and there's like a little intrigue mystery in it, but it's very little, so that's great. Really, it made me want to just play Pokemon Battle Revolution, which is just like the Pokemon Stadium game that's on the way. Like it made me miss that, and that's not a great game, but I like it. And that's just regular Pokemon battles.
Hmm. The thing,
It
I
has Lucha Pikachu, which is pretty funny, but I
I
mostly played as Charizard.
I think the
Yes.
thing I kind of like about it, like to be completely honest, though, is that even though it doesn't adhere to what I wanted, which was Tekken with Pokemon characters essentially, is that it honestly feels like a Pokemon battle. Like the way the UI is laid out is
Yes.
very reminiscent of like a Pokemon battle. The way you kind of start off in like the free balling mode or whatever, where you're just like your Pokemon are facing each other, and then like you're running around the field, and then when you get in close, it becomes a fighting game. Like I think it's very clever in giving that Pokemon feel, but I didn't want that.
Yeah, that's fair. Like that free reign style plays a lot like the Naruto fighting games, actually.
Okay.
That's the style of those games just are in all the time, is that sort of 3D free range mode. So I've seen fighting games that do that, but they're just not that like they don't hit the way classic fighting games do
Right.
for me. But I get it.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Was it worth your money, do you think? Like in all honesty. If you
I
if
got
you knew what
it for like $40 because of sale stuff. So that was I'm okay. I'm not. It's not great. It's not a great value because I also bought that dumb controller.
Oh, did
But
you?
that thing was like $25. It was cheap for a controller.
Oh, okay.
And I honestly liked playing the game with it better. Like I didn't think it felt good when I played it with the gamepad. Which is also the weird thing the game does is when you play, because of the weird screen setup, when you play it multiplayer on your TV, like fucking local, one
Yeah.
person plays on the gamepad and one person plays on the TV, and you see different things. You see the opposite angles. So I experimented with the gamepad just to see how it felt. I didn't love that. I will definitely like that controller they built for it. I just thought it played a little better with that thing. But I'm not super into that game, so
Yeah, okay.
whatever. But like, there's like no other Wii U games. That's like the Wii U game I bought this year.
Oh, this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to say like there's a lot of other Wii U games.
Yeah, no, I just mean recently.
Sure. Knowing what you know now though, like would you buy it again?
maybe just. But I have a weird thing where I just like having fighting games for the dream of having people together and just running through a bunch of them.
I
So
mean, that's the dream.
having another weird fighting game in my collection is still a plus.
Sure.
I still like it for that.
Okay.
Which is honestly generally how I end up buying most fighting games that I buy.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Cool. What else have you been doing?
Still more video games. So I'll talk about Oxenfree.
Yeah, this is a weird indie title that's kind of like a horror, right?
Yeah, it definitely has horror aspects. It's very like story driven. It's sort
Yeah.
of similar to Firewatch, except it's not first person at all.
Right.
It's third person characters, but there's like it's most of the gameplay is
And it's 2D, if I remember.
yeah, it's 2D.
Yeah.
So it's sort of your side scrolling area, walking around, but it's mostly just talking, and it has those sort of multiple dialogue options. Things will pop up, and then characters will react to you based on what you say. And then there's like horror stuff, like you're a bunch of teenagers on an island, and we're there to drink, and then you discover fucking supernatural ghost shit, and it's weird and creepy and horror.
I hear it's actually kind of intense too.
It can be. It definitely does some neat stuff with that. I'll
Okay.
say. It mixes up what it does. I don't think it ends great.
Okay, so you did beat it.
I did finish it. It's not very long.
How long is it?
Let me see.
Because I know this is a point of contention for people that like find narrative-driven stuff like Firewatch. Maybe
It's like 3 hours. It took me.
okay, that's actually far worse than Firewatch. Firewatch has another hour or two into it.
Yeah, but this was. Firewatch also took me like 3 hours. Like it took me about the same amount of time.
Okay.
Honestly. But
Okay.
it was cheaper than Firewatch still.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I got it. I bought it. I'd been waiting for it to go on sale.
Even better.
Yeah. So it was like $10 or something, like maybe 11. for
Is there
me.
any replay value to it once you know what's going on?
No. I wouldn't
Okay.
say so. Just because they kind of fucked up the ending, for the most. I would say that.
Okay.
There are different paths you could take to get slightly different endings, but I don't think it's worth it. I think you see the interesting stuff in the first run, and you can just look up some of the other stuff.
Okay.
But it's okay. It doesn't have as good voice acting as Firewatch, I don't think, but it does. Its story stuff does some neat horror stuff. That stuff's cool.
Cool.
It has one conceit that's really interesting. It would be a spoiler to talk about it, kind of. I could go into it if you want me to, or I can, if you feel like you'd play it, I'd let that lie.
I mean,
It's not a super complicated thing. It's just a neat little trick it does.
okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't care, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. What is it?
There's like there are points in the game where you see yourself in a mirror, and you see like there's like a little green thing above your character, and like later in the game you realize that what it puts up there is your Steam tag. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
not actually the person. You're like, it's putting you in the role of some third party controlling this character. Like you're making the choices for them.
Okay. That's cool.
So it's a neat little trick.
That's cute.
Yep, it's cute. That's a good word for it. Game is okay. It feels a little overwritten. Like it feels like these actors acted it as it was written. So there's like weird things of them, like the way they will like put ums or fucking things feels like that was the writer. Those were writer choices. That wasn't the actors getting like leeway to sort of act the way they wanted to or whatever.
Right.
That thing's okay.
Cool.
It's okay. Now let's talk about Devil Daggers.
Yes, I'm actually super interested in this game.
I really like Devil Daggers.
Okay.
It's fun. So this is Devil Daggers. It's like also this is like a $5 game, but it's basically it's sort of low graphics. Like it looks like Quake 1 kind of stuff of super pixelated 3D, and it's a basically a first-person shooter, but what you're shooting is your hand is out, and just daggers are flying out of your hands.
Yeah.
And it plays like the comparison I've heard it plays is sort of like 3D Geometry Wars in terms of like these like they're based
Like a first-person shooter, Geometry Wars.
Yeah.
To be specific, for anybody who hasn't like seen anything of it.
So like, because your basic enemies that you fight are these spires will come up,
Yeah.
and then all these little skulls will fly out of them, and like one of them is a bigger skull that flies around, and you have to shoot the spire at this one specific weak point that sort of rotates around it.
Yeah.
And then when you kill, so the big things, a lot of this game has to do with it's all very dark around you.
Yeah.
So audio cues are a big thing in it, like being able to hear where one of those things is spawning. But the other thing is this game basically always works in the same spawn order. Like where things show up will be different, but what will show up at certain times is always the same. So it
gets more intense because it's about surviving.
Yeah, it's a high score game.
Yeah.
And then so like there's like a point like it's however many minutes in. I can't even remember. It's like, but like 70 seconds or whatever, like where the run is like, oh no, this is where most runs go to die. Like my runs are basically a minute long before you're dead. For the most part for me. It's pretty hard.
To the point where they actually calculate milliseconds in this game. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always cool to like when you actually beat your high score. So the thing you're trying to do is not just clear the enemies fast, but kill everything except the simple basic skulls drops like a red crystal, and that determines your upgrade. So like the first sort of barrier you're trying to get is to get the first upgrade, which is like 11 gems or something. But like the point where the game it will sort of is like the big deal breaker for your run, like the first one is this spider shows up and it will suck in, you hear like this, and it will suck in all gems that are on the field, and it will also point up and then point down so you can't hit it for a while. So you have to get that thing dead kind of immediately. But as you're trying to kill that, a bunch of spires have popped, and so there are skulls rotating all around you. So if you can't get that thing, you're gonna be overwhelmed.
Right.
And right as you're hitting that, you're hitting the point where you should be around the point where you're about to get the next upgrade, which you pop up an extra finger, and then the game slows down for a bit, and you start shooting more daggers, which is pretty funny. Like the part of the upgrade where you're like you're getting more fingers up on your hand is a cool little visual thing. But also this game, like, it just plays really good. Like it even has like rocket jumping, because you can you single click, it'll do like a shotgun blast, or if you hold it, it'll send out a stream. And if you like if you shotgun blast and look at the floor at the same time, it'll be like a rocket jump, and you can bunny hop in this game.
Okay.
Like it just plays good, and it's just like a good thing of like, I want to warm up for playing some competitive like MOBA or something if I wanted to play HOTS, and I just want to get myself ready. I'll play a couple runs of Devil Daggers, get my heart pumping. And it's very like they're like the only colors are like they're simple in terms of just like there's some poison things that are green, or the gems are red. Generally the weak points are red, but on the spider things, actually the weak point is their face, which is right above the red part on them, which can throw you off the first time until you realize that. And it's like face like glows yellow when you hit it. It's just cool. Like for a $5 game that's just about trying to do runs on high scores, it's pretty fucking good.
And that's going to be one of those games that like on a sale will be $1. Like,
yeah.
So that'll be cool for sure. If people want to check it out.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
You know what? It seemed like a cool thing.
What?
Nova Covert Ops.
So it's more StarCraft 2. This is cool. It actually takes place after the end of StarCraft 2, but you don't have to have played StarCraft 2 to get this. And like, I think you can actually just get this as a standalone thing. You can just buy it, even if you've not owned any other StarCraft 2. It shows up as like a fourth thing on the story selection thing. And it's like, each mission pack. So they're doing 3 mission packs that are going to come out supposedly by the end of this year.
Okay.
They like built in the game. It says these should all be out before December 1st. And you can pay like American dollars, $7.50 per pack, or $15 for the whole thing. And they're like they're just 3 missions each of single player StarCraft 2 content. That's this one story about Nova post the end of StarCraft 2, where there are this faction of other Terran that are plotting something.
Right.
That are trying to overthrow the Terran government, basically, they have like a psi emitter, and you're after them. So it's also like, so what's cool about it generally is just new Terran missions, though they haven't actually made those in a while.
Right.
There's like 1 Terran mission in StarCraft 2 since Wings of Liberty, I think, which was in Legacy of the Void. It's the endgame stuff. So it's just cool to play with those units again. They're also Blizzard is just doing weird experimenting stuff with this. Like, there's a sequence where you're on a vulture and you have to like click around to dodge traffic as you use your abilities on enemies that come in and attack you.
Okay.
Like, you have like a snipe and and you're just fucking dodging around like trucks on like a fucking 2-lane highway. It's just fucking weird.
Huh.
Also, like, it opens with a stealth sequence where you're running around with Nova, dodging cones of vision and breaking people's necks.
Weird.
And then you get a sword. So this part of the structure of this thing is like upgrade stuff, and it's all modular. So like you get a jump jet upgrade for your units, and you can put it on not any unit, but any one of these specific units. Like, you can put it on your siege tanks. So your siege tanks can rocket jump over to up a ledge, or over onto some over a gap. And you can either put that on your siege tanks, or you can put that on some other unit, like your Hellbats or something. Like, you have to you only get one of them, so you have to choose which of your units you want to have them. And then you also have a bunch of different things for Nova herself. Like, you can have her be invisible all the time, or she can have like a jetpack so she can jump up.
Okay.
So she can be like a Reaver and jump up terrain and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
There's good modular stuff. Because you only have 3 missions in this pack, you don't get to experiment with that stuff that much in this one. But that'll be cool cool down the road as that sort of opens up and you get more stuff to play with. And they're cool missions in this. I liked it. It's cool to see more StarCraft 2 stuff. Like, this doesn't hit me as hard as Legacy of the Void is. There's nothing as cool in this as that thing was, but as a way to keep StarCraft 2 going without fucking taking years and like making a big story, like making a smaller thing that's like quick to consume and quicker for them to make. This is cool. I had fun.
Cool. Glad to hear. All right. I'm just gonna rush this ahead because I really want to know about it. Is Hyperlight Drifter any good?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, but it's not great.
Yeah, the thing, basically what holds it back is for the most part, it's a lot of combat, like little combat arenas where you get locked in.
I hear the combat's not good.
I like it.
Okay.
It's not amazing.
Explain to me what Hyperlight Drifter even is.
It's very much, for one, it just fucking looks amazing. Like, I just fucking like how that game looks. It's really fucking cool looking to me. I like the visuals a lot. But a lot of it in structure is sort of inspired by like a top-down Zelda game.
Okay.
But basically,
you lost some of my attention, but okay.
Just in terms of like it's dungeon crawly. Like,
right.
You're going out into different directions in the world. It starts with you can go north, south, northwest, or east.
Okay.
And south is blocked off. You can't go south to start. South is you go there last. So
okay.
You have any one of these 3 directions to go. You fight through a bunch of combat rooms. You beat a boss. You unlock a thing that brings up a pillar in the center of town. When you get all 3, you can go south, and then you get the final one.
I see. Okay.
So there's that simple structure. Your 2 weapons, you've got a sword and you've got a gun. and there as you beat different bosses and you find some other guns. You start out with like a pistol that has ammo that's limited, and the way you refill your gun is with hitting things,
Okay.
and that can be either hitting enemies or you get a little bit of it just from destroying like objects in the world. And but the big game breaker for this game is you have this dash where you just sort of move really quickly. It's just like a dodge roll sort of thing, but you dash really quickly over a distance, and you can cross gaps with it. So there's like hidden things to find over there. Like either your health is determined by you have to pick up health packs and use them to heal yourself, and you can only hold like 3 of them. So searching out and finding them to make sure you have enough health to keep going is like a big thing to make sure you don't sort of put yourself in a position where you have to backtrack and go back and find more or something. And then the other thing you're trying to find are these like your currency, basically, where the way that the currency of the game is you collect like these yellow things, and if you get 4 of them, that equals to 1 currency. And things at the shop basically all cost 2 or 3 of these like Roman numeral 2s, because there's a thing in the game where there's almost no text except for some slight tutorial stuff. All of the storytelling and even like what things are in the shop is all visual.
Okay. Does it make sense though?
Yeah, they do a really good job of explaining stuff. The only thing is, in the shop, I didn't realize that like a lot of shopkeepers are selling 3 things that you can pick up at this you can just choose between, and you just have to fucking D-pad down to notice that.
Oh,
And I just wasn't paying enough attention to realize that at first until I'd bought one. And it's like, any shop I could just fucking get any of these. So all the upgrades are there from you from the start. You just have to have the currency to get them. So you can choose which upgrades you want at any point.
Okay.
And the best upgrade, the one that really makes me like the game, is one of them allows you sort of to dash forever, like indefinitely. And the way you do it, it's not just like you dash and then you dash again. It's like you build up speed, so it's like a rhythm thing of you're sort of dash of like you have to get this rhythm down of like that builds up as you hit your peak dash speed. And there's like a room in the store where you get it, where you just try to dash around this room, and if you get like 100 dashes around the room, you unlock a thing, and if you get like 600 around there, which I haven't been able to do, you get another thing, because
600.
You're going fucking fast. I think it's just a costume unlock too. I think what I read, I don't remember.
This is like
it takes a while.
This is like akin to getting the like fucking Onion Knight doll by dodging fucking lightning bolts in Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, kind of.
Like
it's like a
dodge them 200 times.
Yeah, it's a dumb thing, but it's kind of fun. Like I like that mechanic, so it was cool that they just put some dumb, stupid end goal thing in there.
Are there other challenges that like do the same thing?
There's a soccer game I just unlocked where there's like just a dude and there's a ball, and you move it by attacking and hitting it, and then there's this dude who's trying to block it, and if you can score more goals before he scores the maximum on you, I guess you probably get something. I don't know, I haven't been able to do it. I've only scored like 1 or 2 times, because he will body you. He will just fucking wreck your shit.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. But I just like the combat arenas. I like the combat. Like they're fun little things. The ball fights are tough. The game is hard, but it's fair, because you always respawn at the last checkpoint, which is only ever like 1 or 2 fights back.
Okay.
Like anytime you go through a room or go through an elevator. So the only problem is like the only problem that I don't always love is it's in your best interest not necessarily to clear the room always on your first try, because sometimes you might have used too many health potions, so maybe you want to just do that again and just do it better before you hit the next save point. So that you have more health potions left. But that was only an issue for me early on, and I apparently went the hardest of the 3 ways to start, or second. I went like the hardest way second. So if I had gone west third, I probably would have had an easier time than I did, but I did not. So that sort of screwed up the difficulty curve for me a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. I also did a dumb thing early on where I was just dashing into pits looking for secrets early on because I was just looking for stuff, and every time you fall off a pit, you lose 1 health. So I kind of put myself in behind on health early on in a way I probably shouldn't have. Yeah, it's just cool. Like the boss fights are fucking challenging and fun, and it's just like, but you respawn right there, so like that doesn't hit me in the way of like, oh, I have to go all the way back and do this all over again. I'm still just right there. Just fucking do it.
Okay.
Like, it's not super hard. And it's just like it's fair about its difficulty, I feel like.
Okay.
Even though, like, the rooms themselves can be fucking bullshit, and there's so many enemies on it, but like when you're getting upgrades where like you can dash through projectiles without getting hurt, or you can hit projectiles to reflect them back, like you just get a lot of tools. And the save pointing and checkpointing is super forgiving, so I like all that. And it's not a super long game, so like I'm kind of, what am I, like 8 hours in, and I probably only have like an hour left, maybe 2, depending, because I did do that dashing around a room thing for like an hour or something, just because I like doing that. It was fun. I like that mechanic. It was really once I upgraded the dash that I like the mechanics start to feel. They don't quite make sense at first. They feel clunky, but once you get the hang of them, I like them.
Okay, cool.
And the way the shooting works, you can hold left trigger. The game makes it pretty clear you should use a controller. Apparently, the keyboard controls are garbage. You hold left trigger, you get a reticle, and then you can use left thumbstick instead of moving just to point it directly at things. But generally that takes too long, so you generally just want to point yourself in a direction and then just free fire is generally how I do it, because that works and takes way less time.
Yeah, that probably is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds interesting.
Yep.
It sounds like something I would have to see for myself.
Mm-hmm. And I think the visual stuff is really good, and I like its storytelling sensibilities in terms of just like showing you brief images, like tells you a fucking lot. Like it gets across a lot. Like when you go to the east, you're going to like these they're like cat temples, but all you see around are frog enemies, and there are corpses of cat people everywhere. Like some shit went down. Just fucking kill those fucking frogs.
All right, well, cool.
Yeah, I like that game. I like that game a lot.
Let's talk about Enter the Gungeon.
All right.
Because it sounds kind of similar in some concepts anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
very different than others, but yeah.
Yeah. Enter the Gungeon, for anybody who doesn't know, is the newest Devolver Digital published game that has like a good soundtrack, a retro aesthetic, all of that bullshit. It is a twin-stick shooter type game where you're dungeon crawling as well. It plays very, very similarly to Nuclear Throne and Binding of Isaac. Like, if they had a child, it would basically be this. The conceit of the game is that everything is gun-based or puns on guns and all that sort of thing. So, like, some of the enemies are, like... I'm trying to think of, like, one of the, like, puns and stuff. One's, like, Gatling Gull, and he's, like, a seagull-headed, like, muscle man with a Gatling gun.
Uh-huh.
The Beholster is one where it's a beholder, but instead of eyes on the end of each tentacle, it's, like, a different gun that would do, like, what a beholder's, like, attacks would do, sort of thing, or just, like, randomly. It's okay. So... the problem I have with this game, first of all, is that it's one of these games that, like, was released to people to stream and do YouTube videos on and stuff about a year and a half ago. Like, a long fucking time ago. And at that time, I was like, this looks dope. I can't wait till this comes out, and then forgot all about it.
Uh-huh.
Then it comes out again, and like people are doing the same thing. Like they gave out like the final build and stuff to streamers and shit. They're like streaming and doing content on it like 2 weeks before it comes out, and like it kind of had the Overwatch effect where like I was watching a couple people play it. I'm like, okay, this looks less and less intriguing as I'm watching it, because I want to play it, I want to experience it, and watching it is boring and kind of infuriating to me. So whatever. But like, I guess I'm in the minority, because when it came out, every single person on the internet was like, oh my god, I need to suck some dick for Enter the Gungeon. Like, everybody was so obsessed with it. And like, it came out, I was like, okay, cool, I can finally play it now. I purchase it, and I'm like, this game feels okay. I don't think it feels as good as everybody says it does. I think they're completely wrong about that. The dodging... Okay, first of all, this came out the same week that Dark Souls 3 did, and I'll talk a little bit about Dark Souls in a bit.
Yeah.
But, like, needless to say, I have 2, like, games now that are based, like, completely on dodging things and attacking when the opportunity's right. And going from something where, like, I know they're completely different in how they play, but going from, like, a design that takes that into consideration perfectly for how the game's supposed to be played, like Dark Souls, and then just kind of like, yeah, whatever, use this roll to dodge shit, in Gungeon. It's infuriating in a way I can't explain. The invincibility frames are ridiculous in Gungeon. Like, if you're just rolling all the time, you will never get hit. But of course, you're never going to do damage, so that would be a fool's errand. But, and, like, the gunplay itself, I think it's really, really cool. Like, you get different guns instead of, like, upgrades. Like, you still get some upgrades like you would in Isaac, where, like, your bullets do a little bit more damage, or health upgrades and blah, blah, blah. But the big thing you're picking up is more guns.
Yeah.
And the guns are novel, like, at first. It becomes a min-maxy type of thing like Isaac does, though, eventually, where you're just like, well, if I don't get, like, this gun, I'm going to have a hell of a hard time beating this boss, sort of thing. I mean, or, like, a harder time.
All roguelikes kind of come down to that for them. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Well,
like, a lot of, for the most part. When you've played them a lot.
This is kind of where, like, I'm thinking Gungeon will be better when I play more of it, is that at its base, like, the way it plays is solid enough that, like, you can beat the game with your normal pistol if you're good enough at dodging and stuff. Which is totally fine, and something Isaac didn't have. Like, Isaac, it feels like if you don't get, like, certain items by the time you hit, like, the 4th or 5th floor, you're fucked. You never really get that feeling. It just feels like you have, like, the walls are closing in Gungeon. Like, you have to play harder. Which, I mean, I think it's cool. I think that's a cool thing. Like, that's a good thing, I think. Yeah. I think like, my skill at the game should be the defining factor of how hard things are, and then the game can make it easier on me if I have luck.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Isaac, I just feel like I get fucked if I don't, like, get Brimstone or something. Or, like, flying. Like, in Isaac, if you don't get flying the whole run, you just have a harder time, period. It doesn't matter what you're gonna face. It's just harder. So, yeah. Back to Gungeon, though. I don't know. It's something... There's just something about how it handles. I don't get what people see in it. But, I mean, that's probably just a subjective thing.
Does a lot of that have to do with the fact that you're playing it at the same time as Dark Souls?
I think it might. Let's turn the tables and talk a little bit about Dark Souls, just in general. And then, like, I can talk about 3 a little bit more. But, the way Dark Souls works is that a lot of that game is about kind of like planning on the fly, and then when shit goes wrong, just adapting and being able to survive, sort of thing. The rolls have a certain timing to them. You can upgrade, like, your poise and stuff like that, and, like, the invincibility frames you get when you roll, like, how tricky you are and how hard you are to hit, or how much damage you just want to be able to tank. Like, the nice thing about Dark Souls is that it's one of those games that, like, if you're playing, like, a leather-based or, like, light armor-based character, that like has fast rolling speed and stuff like that, you're just probably never going to get hit. Or you could just play a bulky motherfucker who just like puts down his shield and says no and like takes every single fucking hit that a boss can give you, and then you attack back. Like, it's how you want to build it.
Yeah.
But no matter what you do, the roll always feels good in Dark Souls, which is important because that's the main mechanic of that game, to not lose every single time. So going from something that's well thought out, like, just kind of like in Dark Souls you have like this lay of the land sort of thing where you're walking through and there's downtime, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, there's times when nothing is attacking you, and then you'll be attacked, and then it's on, and then you kind of have to be on for a little bit, and then you go back to nothingness. Gungeon has the problem I have with bullet hell shooters in general, because it is a bullet hell game. And that's just that, like, I don't want to always be, like, I'm gonna fuck your face, like, levels of intensity. I think that's lame, and I hate a lot of bullet hell games. So, just in general, I'm, like, slated to not like this game. The things I like about Gungeon are, like, the first 3 floors-ish, where there's different enemy types, and, like, they have different attack speeds and stuff like that, and that's all fine and dandy. But after that, it actually just becomes bullet hell, where there's bullets everywhere, and there's no, like, design anymore. Like, the design in bullet hell games is, let's fill the screen with shit. And I like more the Dark Souls-ish approach, where, like, no, let's just put, like, hard things in different locations that's gonna fuck with the players. It might just be a flavor of the month type game. You might be right. I don't know, though. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, it's still unclear to me how much the replayability depth is there for people with Gungeon.
So with Gungeon, the idea is there's you're like 4 or 5, I can't remember, main like character classes or whatever.
Yeah.
They have different advantages to start off with, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like what weapons you have by the end of the game. And the loop is, you get to the end of the game, there is a final boss like there is in Isaac, so there is an end to your run, which is something I appreciate. I don't like endless runs. But like, you're trying to quote unquote kill your past is what they call it. And it's kind of a cool thing, actually. So what happens is, like, you get to the end or whatever, then you do the thing where you like go back and you like your character's like previous story or something, your past, and you like fix a wrong that happened, and you like unlock a new like skin or ability or something with them. It's cool. Like, it's a cool little thing.
Yeah.
But there's only a few of those.
Yeah, for me, like, there's one of the parts I feel like that makes Isaac so replayable, are like all the different weird ways items can work with each other.
Yes.
Different combo stuff, and it's unclear to me whether Gungeon has that because of its focus on singular items.
Very, very rare.
Yeah.
Extraordinarily rare. Because, like I said, most of what you're picking up for power-ups are guns.
Yeah.
And you're not shooting 2 at a time.
I mean, I did see that there's like a duct tape item that combines 2 guns.
Yeah.
But it just seems like there's way less of that.
Yeah. And you're right. That's inherently what makes, like, Isaac fun, is seeing the interaction and synergies between your power-ups.
Yeah.
Because that's what changes the gameplay. Otherwise, what Isaac is get the brimstone and then win, which is what Gungeon is. Gungeon right now is basically get X gun and win. Also, I just hate when people hype stuff up.
That's just, yeah.
But like I was saying in like my kind of snarky tweet, it wasn't too snarky, but it was kind of like, I just saying, like, I don't get what people see. I am happy people are enjoying it. Like, I always like that people like enjoy something that they pay for and stuff like that. And honestly, I just wish I could see what they see, because to me, it's kind of boring. It's kind of a boring game. But if that's your boat, like, fucking rock it, man. It's there. It's $15. You can buy it right now.
Yeah. I didn't get it because I don't need a game that you play forever. I don't really want that right now.
Well, you have Binding of Isaac. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
ostensibly, you have the better roguelike anyway.
Yeah, I just meant in terms of playing a new game. of stuff. Like between Dark Souls 3, Gungeon, and Hyper Light Drifter, which all came out at the same time, one of the reasons I aimed for Hyper Light Drifter is because it's a much shorter game, which is more what I want right now.
Sure.
Because I've since those games came out around the same time, I still haven't even finished Hyper Light Drifter. Like just in terms of a game where you have a dodge, in terms of dodging enemies, that was more my speed at the moment.
Sure. That's understandable.
Yep.
On that note, Dark Souls 3 is super, super fun. I'm super, super happy with it.
Yeah.
The more I play of it.
Dark Souls for me is always like, I think those games are fucking amazing and they do what I want from video games,
But
I have fucking mental like things that hang me up on games that also triggers for me. So it's hard.
what's something
Like,
that triggers you about the
Well,
Souls games?
specifically it's A, not knowing where the fuck to go,
Okay.
and B, the long like the reset between checkpoints. Like the just dying, having to walk all the way back over again.
How does
They're-
the idea of playing through a Souls game with a partner sound?
That sounds way better.
Yeah.
That sounds way more like a thing I would do. Particularly someone who knew what the fuck they were doing. That would fucking help a lot, probably.
So, in this game, you can have, like, well, like in the other ones as well, you can have multiple people. Like, you can join a game sort of thing. Like, you can invade a person and, like, put your summon sign down and help friends out and stuff. And I've been wanting to, like, I'm not going to stream that game solo, my solo play of it.
Yeah.
But I do want to, like, stream, like, co-op of it because it's just fun to have, like, some friends in a call with you and just, like, fucking around in this universe that's super hard and, like, making it easier just by, like, numbers, by mass.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know. I think the cooperation thing is cool in that game. But, like,
Yeah,
I also want to see the story stuff, like, for myself first, so I don't know. I'm working through it.
Yeah. I mean, I've only very briefly played Dark Souls 1 on 360 because it was fucking free at some point.
Yeah.
And it was just like the parts of that game that I fucking love, that it's an action game that's like puzzle like in terms of figuring out shit,
Yeah.
but like I'm playing that game for the first time, so I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
And then like just dying, the whole fucking reset, the part of me that's super stubborn about not wanting to let shit go, that
Yeah.
also just gets me stuck on points. And then I'm just like, it hits too many like things that fuck me up, that like make me stop having fun when I
Yeah.
think the game is super interesting and well designed
Yeah.
in a lot of other ways.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand that. The nice thing I will say about, like I've been playing these games for a while now. Like, I started on Demon's Souls and kind of moved on as they went. So, like, just having the feel for how these games play, jumping into 3 was no problem,
Yeah.
which is super nice. They have changed a few things. I won't get too in-depth about, like, the technical stuff, but they're kind of cool. Before, you would just be able to, like, if you were casting, like, a mage or something, right? Say you have, like, a fireball, like a pyromancy spell.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be able to, like, maybe cast it, like, 10 times or something, or 5 times, or whatever you had,
Yeah.
like, the slots for, an allotment for. Now you basically just have a mana bar, which is, like, it kind of stupefies it into, like, normal RPG senses. But as a video game, I think was a good change to go back to just, like, something that's easily recognizable. Like, you have your FP bar now, which is ostensibly your mana, and, like, different stats that you upgrade. If you want to upgrade those stats, will, like, make that larger and stuff like that, like you could with your dexterity and stuff. I think it's important that they gave casters that kind of, like, resource like they do, like, for every other build with the stamina bar. So I think it was really cool that they did that and added just small things like that. The game is super referential to, like, every other game. It has little nods to every other game, and those have been super, super cool. I could definitely see how, like, I know some people have said that, like, well, I just wanted, like, a new thing. I didn't want, like, a homage to everything.
Uh-huh.
Like, being this far in the series, I'm okay with the homage and, like, them wrapping up, like, an idea they have in the story.
Yeah.
So I've been super cool with it. The thing they took from Battleborn, or not Battleborn, we'll talk about that in a bit, from Bloodborne,
Yeah.
is that enemies are super aggressive. Like, when they see you, they'll, like, some of them, maybe they'll, like, point at you or scream or something, but then they fucking run at you, and then they just start slashing at you like crazy. And it makes the game, like the Souls game, feel scary in a way that it never felt before, because before it was like an enemy sees you, they lumber over to you and like or run over to you, and then you put your shield up and then you like do a circle walk around them and then stab them in the back and then they die. Like, that's basically how you played some of the older Souls games. But now, like, some of the knights that you meet, like, in the first area, even, like, after the tutorial area, you just, like, they run at you. You put your shield up and you're trying this old tactic, and then they do, like, this animation thing where they, like, take their sword and then they do this, like, sweeping thing the way you're, like, trying to circle around them, break your guard, and then stab you. And you're just like, oh shit, this is actually a fight now. So the game focuses a lot more on dodging than ever before. The circle strafe thing will work on some enemies, especially the dumber ones, and like any enemy if you just time it properly and whatnot. Yeah. But not the same way that it used to. If you had 100% physical resist shield in the other games and you just like put it up and circle strafed with enough stamina, you would just never take damage until you had an opening and then you would just attack. Which is kind of okay because it's like the way the game was designed. But now the game was designed that like things hate you. Like, you are going to get fucking murdered if you don't like use both blocking and parrying and dodging. Like, use your whole arsenal, asshole. Don't just, like, put your shield up anymore.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like it a lot, actually. I hated it at first, because I was like, well, this is how you play a Souls game. Like, I was being a little pussy bitch about it. And then I started dodging more and stuff. I'm like, no, this feels like a duel now. Like, every time I fight one of these knights now, it wasn't just, like, some, like, battle of attrition of, like, who's gonna put their guard down first. Now it's, like, we're fucking exchanging blows and parrying each other and blocking each other's guards and stuff. Like, it's fucking dope. But nice. On the other side of the spectrum, it's harder that way.
Yeah.
The thing I will say, the way they did make it easier is that before, enemies like would take a few hits before they would be staggered or like anything like that. Now, like, if you get some good hits on an enemy, you can combo them pretty good. So, like, they're more aggressive, but they leave them that's the other side of, like, that two-edged sword is they're more aggressive, but they leave themselves open for attacks more. So, like, if you're able to just time it just right, you can maybe get, like, 5 sword slashes in and just fucking wreck their day because they left themselves open. Like, I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool way that they changed the balance from, like, almost a slow methodical to like a wild chaotic, and I like it. Like, and the story things I think are going to happen from like what I've seen. Oh my god, fuck, dude.
Nice.
I'm so stoked as to where that might be going. But yeah, if you ever get Dark Souls 3 and want to try some cooperation out, I'm totally down.
All right.
Or you know what, if you have Dark Souls 1 or 2, we could even just start easy with something you have.
I don't have any of them on PC. Is the problem? I only have one on 360 because it was free at some point.
I guess this is another thing. Dark Souls 3 was like notorious and had a lot of really bad crashes and stuff, especially like the opening couple days for some people. Apparently, a big thing that caused that problem was every time you went to a bonfire, if you were playing a knight, it would be like the reflections of the fire in the like shiny armor that like would cause the crashes and shit. It's weird. It's such a weird like minute detail.
I mean, I've heard about this stuff on Giant Bomb. Apparently, they could only get the game to run as a knight. Any other class, it would crash.
Weird. Okay. Do they know why?
Well, like the conspiracy theory is like they've heard a lot of people having the crash with 700 series video cards.
Uh-huh.
Apparently was a big thing.
Uh-huh.
But they fucking they were like QA testing that game and just like maybe it's HDMI cables is the problem. Like fucking they did a lot. They still never really figured it out.
Oh, so they didn't actually get anywhere, really.
They figured out they could play the night and they could play the game.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. But
There
like,
were just and there were also weird things like where they could sit at the bonfire for a while and then
okay.
it would be okay. You just
Oh.
like if you rushed out, it would crash. Fucking it was just fucking weird.
It has to be
weird.
a
Apparently,
driver problem.
yeah, but like of people who were reviewing it, it was like them and Jim Sterling who were having those issues, and like not a lot of other people. Like it seems really weird and spotty who's having issues.
Yeah. I mean, like I was just about to say, it's the best running Souls game I've ever played on launch.
Yeah,
Like
Isn't
every
it-
other Souls game has been fucking trash at
isn't it
launch.
the first one to run natively at 60 without needing fucking DS fix?
You might be right. It might be. I can't even remember. DS1 needed way more than DS Fix. Like, it needed a
Yeah.
fucking miracle a lot of
Well,
times.
that was also a Windows Live game originally.
It was. You're right. DS2 ran natively at 30, I believe.
Yeah.
Because it was basically the console port on PC, which was garbage. Anyways, this is a long-form way of me saying Dark Souls 3 is, like, finally the PC experience game.
That was
like,
yeah.
runs perfectly.
That was. I was also looking at it. Like, also they launched. It's the first one they've launched the PC version at the same time because I remember the
Yep.
Dark Souls 2 came way later.
It came a month later.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
That
I mean,
seems cool.
I'm super fucking stoked, and I can't wait for more of it. It's so fucking good. Holy shit, is it good. I'll tell you what's not very good that a lot of people love. Stardew Valley. Game's trash.
I mean, it's Harvest Moon, right?
Yeah, that's why it's trash, because I didn't like them back then, and I don't like them now.
I like that kind of game as a mobile game.
You
There's
know
a
what?
place
You're
for that
right.
game.
I could see it. Like, I could totally
That's-
see me playing that at work for an hour.
That's how I played Harvest Moon. I had the GBA version, and I played a lot of that game.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that at my fucking computer.
Nope.
Nope.
So I bought the game. I was like, you know what? I got to see if there's something to this because so many people are obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I started playing it. I was like, okay, this is cute. Like, it moves okay and whatnot. And then it's just like the farm area you start in just has like rocks and tree stumps and stuff everywhere. And like you have the like stamina bar basically where like after you run out of energy, you have to go to bed and like just so you don't do everything in like the first day and stuff. Like, it sucks. It's a piece of shit.
I mean, it's a time sink game. It's like if you have too much free time, this will eat it if you let it.
And I
But if
don't.
you have good video games,
That's why, like, yeah, it's kind of weird too because it's like, I don't know what crowd they're trying to reach. Like the casual PC gaming crowd, I guess, which is not. It's a pretty niche market for gaming.
I don't know. But that thing was like top of the Steam charts for a while, so it seemed to hit with people who wanted Harvest Moon.
I guess so.
Like, and it has dating sim elements too, so it has that too.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I hate it.
That's fair.
Yeah. I also hate Honeycomb Studio.
Yeah, that thing sounds bad.
Yeah, so the way I was describing it a little bit on TDP is that, first of all, let's back up for a second. The reason why Honeypot Dev or whatever, like the people that made Honey Pop,
Uh-huh.
the reason that game I think works and why I respected them for that game is that it mixed different genres together into a thing that worked really well when put together. Like, it had some like RPG elements with a dating sim, with like a really good match 3 game, and they all kind of coincided. And I like that. Like, it worked
Yeah.
very well. And I was super excited to hear that they were making Honeycomb Studio, which was going to take basic clicker elements into like a, I can't remember what they're called, like a weird strategy, like Farmville type game sort of thing.
Simulator.
Like a simulator, yeah, whatever.
Yes, I don't know.
Like, yeah, whatever the name is. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't there so the problems I have with that game, what the game is that you are running a cam girl studio or show or whatever, and you are basically getting cam girls like popular, exploiting them for money, and like making sure that they're happy, like they're not too stressed out. So you like the ones that are smokers will smoke to like they can work more, but like they'll need cigarettes and stuff like that, so they cost a little bit more money, but they don't get stressed out as fast. The ones that don't smoke or drink get stressed out like faster, so they'll need a day at the spa more often. Blah blah blah. There's little like strategy elements in there, if you will. And the idea is to just like make a bunch of money, basically. Like you're making money. The thing I hate about this game is that where I think mixing the different genres and their strengths together really made like a special thing in Honey Pop.
Yeah.
I think this game is missing what makes the addictive and fun nature of the like kind of shittier genres that they're pulling from for this. And like just making a pile of garbage. So for the clicker thing, like I know a lot of people are like, well, like I like that it's just kind of like in sessions and you beat your score or whatever. I hate that. The thing I like about clickers is that right now I can go onto Adventure Capitalist and see that, hey, while you were gone, I made like $14 non-million or something. And then I can have like 10 minutes of fun, like putting that money into different things and knowing that next time I log in, like 3 weeks from now, I'll have even more or something. That's kind of the fun, addictive thing for me for clickers.
Clickers are about seeing the numbers go up.
Yes.
With the hope that one day you will see the biggest number. But that day never comes.
And it really never comes in Honeycam Studio, because even though there's a lack of like meaningful feeling things that you can spend your money on, there's enough of them that you never feel like you're actually making any headway in money. So they're kind of detracting from each other. I want to see that money number go up more, but to do it, I have to spend a lot more than I'm getting. Like it's too real. It's like too much like real life, and I hate it.
I mean, part of the thing is like they're blending like strategy simulator games with clickers, but strategy simulator games are already pretty close to clickers.
Sure.
Like Giant Bomb gave Anno 2025 would like put 2205 on their idle, like they nominated it for their idle games wins just because like what you do in that game is almost a clicker.
Yeah.
Already, like you're all about seeing numbers go up in production lines and stuff. Like there's too much of there that's already there that if you just go over to clickers, you're just dumbing down that sim stuff. You're just making a bad one of those games. Because the clickers, the beauty is in like the simplest it's like hitting that dumb part of your brain that just wants to fucking see the numbers go up, and you occasionally click things. It's just like primal.
Okay, and this is where this game fails, is that instead of that, you have to actually click furiously all the time to make any headway, and then you lose all that stuff just to make small incremental gains that will eventually like be okay. But I don't want to get to that part. Like, you've already lost me from the get-go.
No.
Let's say for a second that you didn't, though. And let's talk about, like, the different strategy elements. Like, some of the things you'll do in this game is, if a girl is stressed, you'll take her to the spa to release stress, and you'll click to make time go by faster, or the time will just go by in, like, a certain amount of, like, allotted time, depending how stressed they are, blah, blah, blah. Another thing will be, some girls, like, to get their popularity out there, will go get a photo shoot. So, like, get their pictures and, like, all that sort of thing out there to the masses. What are some other things? Sometimes they'll go shopping to, like, increase their attractiveness or whatever. Like, just stuff like that, right? Like, you're gaining stats for the different girls and, like, keeping them happy and whatnot. While, trying to, like, get money at the same time.
Yeah.
And, the whole time you're doing this, the way you're doing it is, by clicking. Like, time is going by at a normal rate. When you click, you're speeding up time, essentially. Or, like, making it so that there's less time needed. Like, you're adding seconds or minutes or whatever, so it's less from the total pool. And the game keeps harassing you, though, that, like, at the end of each day, every girl needs to get paid or whatever. which is really fucking stupid because who gets paid daily? Like, maybe cam girls do. I don't know. I'm not in that business, obviously, since I hate Honeycam. So every day you have girls. Every day you have girls to pay, and like if you're in the deficit, the game just ends. Like, I don't know.
Oh, weird.
It's one of those things that like you can go into debt, and then after the first night, they'll be like, "Well, like we're not doing this for free or whatever. We need to make money. Don't like let us get that low again, even if you're like $5 in debt." Like, never mind that I kept like a studio of 20 girls happy while they're drinking and doing drugs and doing whatever, going to the spa on my fucking dime, and I'm like $5 under. Like, here, I'll give you $5 I paid more for your shitty video game. And like, and then like, if you're down by $5 the next day, it's like, oh well, you can't do the job or whatever. And I get where they're coming from. Like, the idea is to make money. You should never be in the red. But the thing is, when you're first starting off, you kind of need to be because you need those upgrades to get money. It's not hard to work around it. It's just, like, time-consuming. The game makes you waste your time by, like, drawing something out that you could do, in theory, in 2 nights in-game, by doing it over 4 weeks worth in game. Like, it's stupid. It's a stupid fucking game. They just ruined 2 genres that are addictive in nature. They made it just unplayable, and I just want them to get their shit together for whatever they do next. People that like this game don't know anything. They're wrong.
It sounded bad. It seems bad. Seems like a bad thing.
I will say what the best thing about it is, it's like $5. Like, it's super dumb cheap. It might be worth $5. I don't know. I'm just so disappointed. I'm so fucking disappointed. But whatever. Not even boobs could bring me back from the brink of despair when playing that game.
Not even boobs.
Not even. Well, okay. If there were boobs in it, maybe. This is another thing that's been kind of grinding my gears. Why is that game banned on Twitch when it shows literally nothing?
Because Twitch is...
Twitch are a bunch of fucking pussy bitches. Like, why don't they go back to Tumblr and cry?
They do.
Fuck Twitch.
Every night. Every night.
Fuck Twitch. Anyway. Let's talk a little bit about The Division, then we'll go into First Person Saturday.
Okay.
We'll talk about every fucking shooter we played over this last weekend. So, for people that don't know, The Division, man. The Division came out. I didn't care about ever buying it. Even, like, we played in the beta. We had a decent enough time. And I always said, like, well, if it goes cheap, like, I'll probably pick it up, but I'm not going to pay, like, more than $20 for it. Luckily for me, we got it for free.
Well, so, I didn't. I bought that thing.
You pre-purchased it, though.
Yeah.
You would have gotten it for free had you known, but...
Yeah.
Who would have known that Newegg would fuck up and sell copies of a brand new game only, like, a month old for $0.01?
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Makes me mad. I bought it for whatever. I mean, I didn't buy it for full price, so I don't feel as bad, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's about $40.
Yeah. So The Division, man, I'm starting to have more and more problems with that game as I play it. The big problem I have is just, I hate the feeling of, like, I got a brand new gun and it's kicking ass until I go into, like, an important area and then I can do 10 headshots on a dude and not even get their armor down. Like, that's really irritating to me still. It's easy to, like, suspend your disbelief when, like... Okay, like, I keep using this analogy, but I think it's apt. If you're, like, a rogue or something, or, like, some little dude, right?
Yeah.
You're attacking a dragon with a dinky little dagger. It's going to take 1,000,000 hits to, like, start hurting him.
Yeah.
We're talking about high-powered rifles and guys without even helmets on.
Yeah.
Getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
That's super irritating. Like, I know why they do it, because they need to feel, there needs to be challenge in the game.
Because it's a video game, and everything else is just on top of that.
But when I shoot a dude in the head with a legendary rifle, like, whatever. If I shoot a dude in the head with a normal rifle, he should go down. It's just getting frustrating.
It's just not that kind of game.
It's not, I know, but it's so frustrating. It's so fucking frustrating.
I have... It doesn't bother me, but that's mostly because when I'm in the act of playing a video game, I generally just see the gameplay. Like, I kind of disassociate myself from aesthetic things a lot of times while I'm playing a game.
I think that game's burning me out a little bit too, because the thing I actually want to do is Dark Zone content and just fucking around with friends in the Dark Zone and fucking with people. And I don't feel like... I felt like I could in the beta because everybody was the same level. I don't think I can in the actual game because everybody is level 30.
Yeah. For me, I just don't like playing that game on my own. I've found. I've only really played it with other people because I just don't have... There are just other games I'd rather play if I'm playing by myself. Just for the most part. So I'm like way lower level than you are at this point just because I just don't like playing it by myself. I just don't have fun.
I got into my MMO mode for a while with that game where like I would watch Twitch or listen to a podcast and just mindlessly click things in that game. And I went up like 15 levels doing that somehow.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what level I am because like maybe it's a hard thing to like explain to people. Like I'm not trying to explain it to you, just to people listening that might not have ever had like an MMO they got lost into.
Yeah.
But like you go into this weird, almost zombie-like trance when you're playing an MMO, like or have played a lot of them, where like the game isn't even a game anymore. It's like a clicker, ostensibly, where you're just like moving and shooting, and somehow you're getting experience by the end. Like, oh shit! At the end of the night, I'm level 20 now, or like I don't know. It's weird. That's what that game became for me, and I like it was fine for that. I think it's funner with friends for sure. So I'm excited to get back into that game like with you and Tony and whoever is around. It's just that at this point I feel like most of the people I know playing that game besides you two are level 30, so I think it's one of those things that like we can level together, but like the game will actually open up when we hit 30.
Yeah, probably. Although I've heard the incursion isn't great. The
new one. Yeah, I heard it's actually kind of broken.
There's that, and also just it's not really a raid; it's more of just an arena.
Right. Okay, that's shittier than I thought. Then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've heard disappointment around that too. But yeah, that thing is what it is. Like
it is.
Just is what it is. For me, it's.
I'm not gonna front. For 1 cent or free, however you want to classify it, that game is super, super good. Even for $40, I think that game's probably okay. I would have probably paid about 20 for it and felt totally good.
I feel like I've barely played it, and I've played like 10 hours of it or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
So, definitely put more time into that than like Pokken Tournament by a lot or something.
Sure.
I paid similar amounts of money more, so whatever. But for me, really my thing is when I'm playing games on my own, I'm playing Heroes of the Storm right now. Like, that's like the game where I put on something in the background and play ranked Heroes of the Storm. That's what I've been doing.
Do you want to talk about Heroes of the Storm?
Just because that segues so well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You should never call out the segues, but every time I'm on a podcast, we do. It doesn't matter what podcast. It happens every time. It's what you do when you podcast.
It. I fucking love calling out the segues. After you hit a really good one, you have to fucking ruin it. It's important.
Yeah, for sure.
I also love people talking about things that the audio listeners can't see. That is also great radio.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of happy we're not doing... You know what? We should go back to this style of audio only, because it makes it so you can't do dumb sight gags. I do like an audio-only podcast because I listen to them on the bus all the fucking time, and I hate when they're like, yeah, look at this. It's just like, well, no. Like, don't do that. That's frustrating.
I actually love it when they do that and they're audio only.
Okay, that's
also
pretty good. Yeah.
That's like Howard Stern would do that. Like that was for like his gimmick was before he was on. He actually had a TV show version of his radio. He would always have like hot chicks on and talk about their boobs. But like the gag was he was talking about shit his listeners couldn't see.
Right.
It's just like it's a classic. Yeah, that's bad radio in a lot of ways, but it's also hilarious.
Bad radio makes for good podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Heroes of the Storm.
So what got me back into Heroes of the Storm?
It's Tracer, obviously.
No, it was before that. It was
Okay.
Zool, actually, was what got me really back into it.
Okay.
I just really liked playing him. And he was super broken. He had like I played in Hero League and had like a win rate around 80%. Like, it was fucking ridiculous when he was first came out, how good he was. And I was just playing a lot of him. So that was just fun. And then so then that get me back in the rhythm of the game. And I've just enjoyed it. There are like a bunch of heroes now that I really like.
Okay.
Kael'thas I really like. Johanna I really like.
Johanna's dope.
Johanna's dope.
Yeah.
It's my go-to warrior. I play Muradin generally. What if I have to warrior? I really like Rhaegar. I really like Illidan has been on and off good. Rhaegar been playing. Just like I've got a good rotation of heroes that I really enjoy playing that are competitive.
Yeah.
And I also got super into like trying to fucking moneyball it, of looking on like statistics of win rates on Hotslogs for what is doing good right now with like and how it changes each patch. Like that's just a dumb like min-maxing thing of seeing what's good right now and what fits how I like to play the game.
Sure.
That I've had fun with. And seeing what skills our people are winning with. That's like added just a dimension of like just fucking around with and learning the game. And it's just I have fun with it. Like that's like my podcasting game. If I'm just playing and zoning out, just playing a competitive game like that just ends up being more satisfying me generally than any kind of single player thing if I'm playing by myself.
Sure.
It's just where I am right now.
Yeah.
So Tracer just came out. She's also really cool. She plays like all her abilities are the same as her Overwatch abilities, which is kind of insane.
Okay.
Where she's like a character where her D is like she doesn't have a mana bar, she just has ammo for her guns and you have to fucking reload after she shoots or she'll do it automatically. Or you
That's
can press
hilarious.
to automatically do it. She has the 3 like blinks, which will recharge. She has she can recall, although it doesn't get rid of damage unless you upgrade it at level 20, then it will get rid of recent damage, but it would be too broken if it just automatically did that in that game. She also has a weird thing where her ult is her pulse bomb is always she has it, but it has to charge like Overwatch abilities based on how you're shooting. But at the end of the level you would normally get your ult, you just get to unlock different upgrades for it. So you get to pick like just flavor it kind of. And then
Cool.
she has a melee attack too, is her other ability. And meleeing things charges her ult faster. It's just really she's fun. She's really good. She's not super broken like some of their other recent assassins have been, like Li Ming and Zool, but she's fun. I just haven't played her enough really to feel comfortable with her and competitive, and the queue times playing as her in quick match right now have been super long. So
Because everybody wants to.
yeah, so I kind of got her level 5 and haven't played her a lot yet.
Yeah.
Since she's only been out a couple days.
Yeah.
The other thing Heroes of the Storm launch that I just want to talk about briefly is they added, but only in custom games, like an ARAM type mode. It's like a single lane map.
What? Okay.
So
I'm in.
the way you do it is like you have to fucking go into local chat and people are just fucking general chat and people are just fucking hosting games for it on that map and you just fucking join.
Oh, dude, that's what I miss about like even WoW is going into like this community chat and being like looking for a group or something. Yeah. Holy shit, I'm so in.
So they have that. The thing about it though is, and people basically only run it as all random modes. It's like just saying, all right, everyone, we're all gonna pick random because that's what this is for.
Yeah.
The thing of it, like, just the thing about it is, like, with ARAM, the part where you're always all the same level in your team just kind of means that both teams are basically just fucking butting heads until one gets like a slow like push back. Like it doesn't have like the thing of like one person getting some kills and then sort of getting ahead and getting a boost. It's just like two fucking elephants headbutting until one fucking backs off a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
But yeah, it's cool. I've only done it a couple times, but it is now in that game if you go to find it
this weekend.
All right.
You know what Heroes of the Storm reminds me of?
What?
Dota 2.
Yes, I've been playing. Also, I've put like 30 hours into Dota 2 since.
Holy fuck! What?
And that's only with people. I haven't played it by myself at all. It's with Cujo, Spart, and Steven. We've played a bunch of Dota 2. We were playing like every day for a couple weeks.
Where did that come? Okay, Cujo I understand because MOBAs.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did Spart and Steven grow a backbone?
Spart has sort of been playing it a bunch.
Yeah, no, I do remember when you got mad at him for not inviting me.
Yeah, and Steven just hit a point where he was done with Heroes of the Storm.
Why?
So, I don't know. Because since it came out, he had still been playing it. Like I quit that game for a long time.
Oh yeah.
He had been playing it. He's played way more of that game than I have.
Oh shit! It was
his it for fucking ever.
It was his gateway drug. Holy shit! He's going on to harder MOBAs, and he just went from weed to meth. Holy shit! Yeah. So that game's still kind of the same.
That game's pretty much the fucking same. Like there's stuff that's different about it. I'm like, wait, what?
I don't know like any of the items at all anymore.
I still know like.
Do people still build a mech?
Yeah,
what's like this tangerine. There's so many fruits now.
Yeah, mostly the people don't use that stuff though, or I don't at least. I don't know. There's like a mana fruit or something that gives you mana over time. I think.
Okay, so like a tango for mana?
Yeah, basically.
But why was that not in there before? That seems like it makes a lot of sense.
Because just wasn't in there before. I mean, that's how Dota goes. Like,
yeah,
just what fucking ever. That game is such a fucking mishmash of weird things. I fucking love it. But yeah, like the only reason I still am into the thing I've really come to with why I'm playing Heroes of the Storm instead of Dota 2 on my own is when I'm by myself, I just want to fight people. And the part where you get to just fighting people in Dota 2 takes a while, whereas Heroes of the Storm, you're basically immediately.
It actually takes like the whole game.
Yeah. Like when I'm even when I'm playing with them, a lot of times I end up playing hard carries just because I fucking wanted to be able to do stuff at the end of the game to try and win. And then just like farming is like jungle is just not that interesting.
What's the hardest carry you play?
I play PA.
Oh yeah, PA's a real hard carry.
Yeah,
PA's stupid.
Holy
fuck. Yeah.
I also Spectre a lot. I haven't really played Spectre recently. I was playing a lot of PA.
I really, really like the slow burn of Medusa a lot. Where it's just like, you're nothing for 60 minutes, and then you are everything.
The greatest comeback I ever had in a Dota game was we had a Medusa on our team.
Yeah.
And, like, they had pushed us all the way to our core, and we were, like, gonna lose, and then we fucking team wiped them, and Medusa solo pushed down their entire base and won. That was a long game. Like, yeah.
Medusa's stupid. If she gets a good ult, she can wipe a team. Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, particularly late game if she's fed. Holy
and, like,
shit.
never die. She will, like, never die if she's fed enough.
I've just seen too many games of people being bad Medusas.
Yo, that's the thing, is that if you're gonna play Medusa, have fun farming for literally 50 minutes. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
You are not, like, when people are fighting, you better be ancient, like, getting the ancients. Like, you better be killing like mobs the whole time.
Also, playing with people who generally like don't know that game that well has kind of been a different experience because I barely got to play. Felt like really playing Dota 2 in terms.
Oh, so
of,
you
like,
were having fun.
yeah, basically in terms
Good.
of like having the comp and having supports and all that stuff. I also went on my longest losing streak ever in that game with them. Lost
Yeah, that
13
makes sense.
games in a row.
Wow. Even statistically, you should have probably won one of those.
Yep.
Wow.
When I
Okay.
eventually won a game. I was playing the tree. That's I won.
Tree and Protector.
Yeah, I played Tree and Protector. Then I got a win. Yay. Also, Spart wasn't there, so that helped.
I watched. So you know who Purge Gamers is or Purge is?
Yes. I know
Oh,
Purge.
okay. For people who don't, he's just like a Dota 2 caster / like content creator. I watched my first Purge video in like probably 2 years the other day, and I'm so glad I did. It was what the hell is that called? The ability draft.
I fucking love ability draft.
He made a Treant Protector, a one punch kill Treant Protector.
Yes.
So he just like went around and just like attacked them. I can't remember what he took. He took like Sakuchi and like some other things and like buffed his strength up. So basically every time he hit when like it was up, he would do like 2 hits at once and they would hit for like 200 damage each. Like it was stupid.
If there's anything to tie to like my Dota 2 fall off from when I was playing that game every day, it was the high of ability draft was so good, and then people stopped wanting to do it all the time.
Right.
Like it was much harder to find a group of people to do ability draft because that's the mode I fucking love. But you can't take new people into that. Like we played one game I think of ability draft, but you can't have new players play that game. It's a dumb mode that has a higher skill ceiling than the regular game because you have to fucking know the abilities inside and out to play it. But it's super dumb and not actually a competitive mode. I fucking love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
So
it's
much
really, really good.
ridiculous garbage can happen in it. I love ability draft. I love ability draft.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
you know what? Let's get into this. This last weekend was kind of a pain in the ass because I'm going to refer to this as the beta-born weekend because there was nothing but fucking betas this last weekend. We had Overwatch like released to a wider amount of people. We had the Doom multiplayer beta. We had Battleborn. You and I have had access to, but we played Paladins, and you played some Lost Reavers.
Yeah.
These are all just betas, by the way, from this last weekend.
I played Rainbow Six Siege on a free Rainbow Six Siege weekend that weekend too.
We'll get into that after. Let's do the
Yeah.
betas talk right now.
Yeah, sure.
Let's start off with a showstopper, Overwatch.
Yo, Overwatch is good.
Yeah.
I like that game. I like that game.
I find it hard to care about it until it's out, and I can play more of it at will, though.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't want to be boxed into like a 12-hour period to play it. That's dumb.
This was the last. It was also just an interesting thing of like where I was in terms of mood wise. Where like the last time I tried Overwatch, I super wanted to play Overwatch and was like,
Yeah.
felt bummed playing Heroes of the Storm. Whereas
Right.
this weekend, I kind of was like, man, I want to play some more Heroes of the Storm. It's just like fucking mood.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting that like I felt more that way this time. Because really, Overwatch, part of the carrot on the stick is going to be getting those unlocks, and those are all going to
Yeah.
wipe before launch. So
I feel like Overwatch lost a lot of its glamour. Like, I think they pushed it to, like, streamers and, like, people talking about it too much.
it's also like it just that game makes a good first impression, and I've spent over probably 10 hours with it now. So
Yeah. No, you're right. It's true. That being said, like, you're right. The thing I want is, like, the progression stuff, and, I want to try, like, some of that ranked mode and see how people play in that a little bit differently than, like, the casual mode and stuff like that. That's not stuff I'm going to do in a 10-hour span. So, like, thanks, but no thanks, Blizzard. Like, I played a few games with you guys. I had fun. but then I didn't care because I knew it would be over, and there was so much other shit to
I mean,
play.
that's also like how it's gonna be. Like good is like that'll
Yeah.
be a game you play with friends.
Yeah.
Like for a bunch of nights and then play something else.
Well, that's the thing is that like I'm just not into
I just want it. I want it as part of my gaming rotation.
Yeah, I don't
It's
want
gonna
it to
be
just
really
be like
good.
a day and it has to be this day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. But like that's all going to be fixed when it's out. So whatever.
Yeah.
Um
I'm just actually now wondering how much more I want to be playing of it in these next open betas before it's out, because all that
Yeah.
progress is gonna wipe.
yeah, I'm the same way actually.
I'm conflicted.
And to be like just to be honest, Overwatch when like the betas were coming out and people were playing it and stuff like that, like nothing else was around that I cared about really.
Yeah, that's also true.
There's a lot right now. Like when we were playing Overwatch the other night, I was just like, yeah, this is super fun. I should play Dark Souls 3 though. Like I have other stuff to do
Well,
now.
that's like the thing. If Overwatch had like launched into open alpha or whatever they wanted to call it back
Yeah.
when we played it, like I would have played a lot of it then and may not have been super high on it now because like I would have played
Yeah.
it when I was into it.
No,
And
you're
just,
right.
Like, it's just like that like infatuation part is like that part's over.
Yes.
It's
The
just-
infatuation part for sure.
Yeah.
It's
It's
still a great game.
It's still a really good it's really good class-based shooter. Like it's
Yeah.
really good. That's a cool thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about Doom, the multiplayer beta.
Multiplayer.
Uh
That announcer is weak.
it is weak and they talk way too much.
Yeah.
Holy shit, do they talk way too much. The thing I think with Doom is that it doesn't leave a great first impression when you play it. Especially, like, technically, the game, like, literally says the first thing you see is this game is broke as fuck, just wait for it to work itself out.
Yeah, the menuing can be confusing. That's put stuff in weird places.
But I think the way people talk about it is unfair.
Yeah, it's getting a lot
Personally?
of shit. For,
Yeah.
I don't really get why.
Yeah, it's because people are stupid and they can't like more than one thing. So what the Doom multiplayer beta showed me is that, like, first of all, like, Doom multiplayer is not the reason I care about Doom. It never has been. It never, ever will be. I was, like, surprised I would even find it playable, to be honest with you. I was even more surprised to find I liked it. It took some older sensibilities from, like, the Quake and Unreal Tournament days and all that sort of stuff. Slowed it down a little bit to make it a more modernized feeling shooter and added in some stuff that made it feel like a Halo shooter as well. It's
Yeah.
like this weird halfway point. And I love it. I like that a lot. Like, keep in mind, this, like, I'm not saying, like, Doom multiplayer only, like, you should be able to buy the single player multiplayer differently and I'll pay $40 for the multiplayer alone. No. Like,
You know.
I think it's unfair when people, like, are talking shit about this thing when it's kind of the secondary focus. Like, of course it's not going to be as good as Overwatch or Call of Duty or something where the focus is on the multiplayer shooting aspect. But, like, this is the fucking icing on the cake, man. Like, this, people aren't going to Doom for multiplayer, so the fact that they made a decent one as a secondary, like, thing that you can do with friends if you want, that's fucking amazing. It's one of the best, like, like, last minute thought things, like, in the, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that when multiplayer games, like, put in a single player component, it's usually trash. When single player games put in a multiplayer component that aren't focused on, it's usually trash.
Yeah.
This isn't. So I'm
Yeah.
happy. It's not going to win any awards or something, but if you're going to Doom for multiplayer, you're a fucking moron. You just are. You have no idea what you're in store for when you hear the name Doom.
Like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what people were expecting from it.
Yeah, me neither, really.
I do get that, like, there are people who... It's just so weird. It brings out, like, people who, hate Halo.
And hate,
the
like,
number of
UT.
people- yeah, like, the number of people who brought out that hate Halo was kind of surprising to me. He's like, this is just fucking Halo. It fucking sucks. Like, I didn't know this many people hated Halo, honestly.
Halo multiplayer is dope.
Like, that is just, yeah, like, I don't, it just,
Like I
I
said,
don't-
people aren't able to like more than one thing because people are mentally handicapped when they talk about video games.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, if people want something that's just that kind of old school game, that new Unreal
Yeah,
Tournament,
here we go.
it's free in pre-alpha, but requires you to get that dumb Epic game launcher. That thing exists.
I have that
and it's
anyway.
cool. Yeah.
I don't remember why. Shadow Complex?
Did you want Shadow Complex for free? That
I
was
mean,
the
I
way to
did
it.
get it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
free. That's why, I guess.
Also, that thing is going to be where Paragon is when that comes out.
That's one I need to try at some point. I don't think I'm going to be into that, but we'll see. Maybe.
That seems to be going more on the hard end of MOBA. Like,
Yeah, Gears of War Dota is what that is.
yeah.
It
But-
looks like a Gears of War game.
Like, it looks like a game made in the Unreal Engine, but it very much is like hard on the MOBA end, as opposed to something like, I don't know, like Monday Night Combat or something, which was more on the shooter end or something. I don't
Right. Or Battleborn.
know. Or Battleborn is sort of more in the middle.
Let's talk about Battleborn.
Yeah.
I finally had fun with that game. I hated the alpha of it, even though we weren't allowed to talk about that game when we played the alpha.
Which was weird because there was totally video out there on the internet of everything we saw in there.
Yeah.
So that seemed dumb.
So I hated that. Now, I'm going to talk about that now. The first time I played that, I thought, like, this is bullshit for bullshit people. And then I realized that the mode we were playing is garbage. It just straight up is. The other mode that is more MOBA-like is totally fine. The PvE thing with some friends and stuff, that was totally fun. There's a lot of carrot on the stick stuff, like
Yeah.
just little things to give it replay value. I think it's going to be a solid title.
Yeah, that thing seems fine, and it seems like it just has a fucking shit ton in it. So one bad mode, it can like survive that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, some people will probably like that mode. I think it's too chaotic for anything.
Yeah, and when you're in a first-person shooter like that, you don't have the fucking map awareness you need to manage how fucking complicated that thing is. I just think like it's just not
Right.
that fun because you don't know what the fuck is going on most of the time. It's also fucking like the first time you play it, it's just unclear where the fucking minion waves are even going. Like it's just there's
Yeah,
too much
the
going
first
on.
time you play it, it's really bad, actually.
I
You get
also
used
just-
to it.
Yeah, I don't know how great some of the characters feel, but again, those are default characters, and I don't like some of the unlock ones seem way more interesting.
Agreed.
Like the default characters, a lot of them aren't my style, but some of the just looking at through the list, there's some in there that I'm like, ooh, I want to play that. I actually want to try that, so that's good.
Yep.
There's dumb. I think the part of it where you have to like unlock where there's like a loot grind in that game. Both seems interesting and seems like it could be
Annoying.
annoying. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that could be a thing where like if you get into it, that's just what that kind of thing is. So you just do that. So
Yeah, I agree.
we'll see. But I definitely have a much better opinion of that game than I did the first time I played it, where I thought it was garbage.
Yep, I'm with you.
I feel like part of that is also softening on Overwatch. Like I was super high on Overwatch the last time I played it. It's like, why isn't this that? I just like that thing seemed like it was eating its lunch, whereas now this just seems like a different thing,
Yeah.
like entirely.
I'm not sure what Battleborn wants to be.
It wants
So-
to be fucking everything. Is what it wants to.
And I think that's a problem.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It does everything okay enough, but I don't think it stands like in the same ground as games that do like either side good. But I don't know. It's
I
cool.
do think the game that seems like it would be more comparable to that thing is Paragon in terms of its sort of MOBA likeness without being third-person MOBA of like from a RTS type game. But both of those games like just make me wish Monday Night Combat were still a thing anyone played, because I like that game and I miss it.
It's dead.
It is dead. It is dead.
It's never coming back.
Nope. The developers ruined it. They tried to make a free-to-play one, and it was fucking garbage.
Super Monday Night Combat.
Super Monday Night Combat was trash.
I believe it. Let's talk about Paladins. That wasn't like the beta weekend thing, but we've been in it for a while now. What do you think of that?
I like that thing. It's not quite like anything else, despite how much from Overwatch it takes. Like, the dude I like in that game is basically also a character in Overwatch, the turret guy. But
I mean,
it's okay.
One of the dudes I like is literally Reinhardt.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. That thing's okay. Like, as another game in the fucking arsenal of games you might want to play, that's a cool one. It's okay.
It holds its own ground, I think.
Yeah. I think it's stupid. It's kind of stupid how like big those maps are, because just for the fucking mount, it's silly. But whatever. I do think that game clearly is still early. Like, it doesn't have any of the carrot on the stick stuff in it yet.
They're consistently adding new characters to it, so yeah, it's new. It's like early.
Yeah. They don't. What I more mean even is like the cosmetic stuff. Like, there's stuff in place for that stuff, but it's just not. None of that is there. They still have fucking stuff that says temp art. So I get that they're not there yet. It's just like, that's less incentive to play it because you don't have that stick.
So one of the problems I had with Paladins is that, first of all, one of the things I don't like about it just in general is I don't like choosing your like power-ups before a match. And then being stuck with that like sort of thing. But the way it used to be before is that there was a whole like minute period where you would choose the cards, like it's all done through cards.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be like in decks or anything. You would just have a bunch of cards and you would like put them up for like this round or whatever. Now what you can do is you can actually make decks of cards like preset. So that part is like negligible now. Like, you just choose which deck you want. It's done in 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's more confusing for new players, kind of, but like the amount of time you had to wait before a match started was
ridiculous. It was, yeah.
It's still kind of too long, but it was fucking ridiculous before.
Like, to put that in perspective, before, one of the, when we were playing, the match was taking so long that, like, when we queued up, I actually just went upstairs and got a drink, came back, and I still had 20 seconds to wait.
Yeah, it was too long, and even if everyone was ready, you still had to wait, which was super dumb.
And you still have to, and it's still dumb.
Yeah.
What else was there? I think there was something else that they fixed that I really, really liked. The card thing was the huge one, though. I really like that a lot.
Really, right? What's frustrating about it now, like compared to Overwatch, is like you get stuck in a like your team comp just like you feel like it's wrong, and you still have to play out this whole match. You can't do anything about it. Whereas you compare it to Overwatch, where you can change your characters on the fly.
Yeah,
so that's such a huge part of that game.
They took the bad thing about MOBAs, where when you're in, you're locked in for the whole match.
Yeah.
When like this, it's not trying to be a MOBA. It's trying to be more like Overwatch and TF2, but like it didn't let you do that like very important thing.
Yeah.
I think that's actually works against it in a major way that they'll never understand. This is a free-to-play thing, though.
Yeah.
When it comes out.
That's also huge.
That's huge, yeah. So, I mean, you could do worse, I think.
Yeah.
It's weird that, like, I saw the Northern Lions now pimping that game, like, as sponsored content. So, like, there's people to, like, queue against. You get, like, a match real quick in that game now, which is hilarious because it used to take a little bit. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's a cool thing, though. Like, because these games live and die by their community, so more people is
Yes.
better for people who like the game.
And that publisher already has a game, so they're in a position to be able
Yeah.
to pimp at something else that's slightly different.
I think that's why I'm annoyed that they didn't do the Overwatch or TF2 thing where you can change between different heroes, because they already have their MOBA.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Whatever. It's a missed opportunity, I think. I think it's something they could even just patch out, honestly.
Yeah.
But maybe not with the cards.
The problem is that you do level up over the course of the game as opposed to
Yeah.
Overwatch, something that you don't. That's a big part of a thing, which I generally in shooters I'm not that into. Like there's a place for it, like Monday Night Combat again. Do that. I was
Oh.
fine with it, but
Actually, I'd be remiss to say that, like, they added a reason why you should have, like, gold in that game now, and you can actually craft cards for your deck for characters.
yes.
So, like, not only are they loot drops that you can either, like, wait until you get a chest to get a random card drop or a bunch of cards, or you can buy one with real money. You can now just use the in-game currency you'll get anyways to create a badass deck for a character.
Yeah, I mean that can also be a thing of frustrating for new players who haven't crafted the better cards or whatever. But
Yeah, but they'll get, like, you get gold so easy.
well, I'm not sure that beta levels of getting gold will carry over into the final game. I'm not convinced of that.
Like,
But
maybe,
I get it because it's a free to play game. That's like what you got to do. But
like, I'm gonna put this in perspective for people that, like, are thinking, well, it can't be that good. Like, I think I have, like, 37,000 gold.
yeah,
It costs
That's like-
1,000 to create a legendary card.
yeah, that's like enough to get all the cards for one character and a bunch of cards for another character, I think. But like all the cards for a character. But again, I don't know if that's just because it's still in beta and they're giving more currency than they will later, because that is a thing that games
Could be.
in beta do.
Could be.
I don't know.
I have a little bit of faith, though, because one thing they did with Smite that I thought showed that they know, like, how people are, is that, like, they made it free to play, but if you wanted, you could just unlock all gods now and forever when they add new ones for $30.
Yeah,
Like,
that
There-
is
yeah.
that is a cool thing. That is sensible.
yeah. Like, if people want to pay and don't have a whole lot of time, but, like, don't want to be kind of thrown in here, like, that's cheap. That's super cheap. $30? That's less than, like, a full release game.
Yep.
So, no, they did good. Like, they know what they're doing. So I have faith. That's a game that when it comes out, since it's free to play, I would recommend everybody trying at least once if you like those types of games. See what you think. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me about Lost Reavers, though.
Okay, so what do you know about this game?
Like, nothing except for the pictures I saw, the screenshots on the site.
Yeah, so it's like this is basically like a third-person shooter loot game.
It looks like a Monster Hunter.
It's much more. I mean, you're much more just from what I've played, going into like a dungeon and doing a run,
Okay.
and then killing stuff and moving on, and then you do that loop over and over again.
Okay.
It is a weird thing where you can generally, like, you're sort of pulled out in third person. You've got a melee attack, you've got a ranged weapon, and you've got like a dodge roll. But then you can, like, press a button and then it goes like over the shoulder and you move much slower, and you sort of like Resident Evil more 4 type camera angle, like Gears of War kind of, to like get more precise shooting you can go into. It's just a weird thing. I didn't really find it all that useful, but it's there. It's just sort of weird. Like there's like all sorts of like customization options for your characters. Probably it looks like it's going to be in there. It was pretty easy for me to find a group, and like I just found 2 other random people playing it and did some dungeon runs. The thing to me is like the environments in that game that were in that I played were super kind of lame and felt like bare bonesy. And you're just like fighting fucking skeletons. Like it felt very lackluster on terms of the environmental design. It definitely felt very like piecemeal stuff. And you're just sort of going into these same environments, but they're sort of randomizing them a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just they weren't that interesting times of environments that you were experiencing was my problem with it. But the way it played was fine and worked. It was just fucking weird how like lackluster kind of the environments were.
Mm-hmm.
But it was okay. I mean, I was playing it by myself, so I just didn't play that much of it. I played like 2 or 3 runs.
Okay. Cool.
You just sort of like do runs. So like if you had 3 other people to play with, it would probably be fun just because it's like a 4-person like loot grind game.
Right.
That's what it is. Like those exist, and it had like if that game came out on PC, it probably wouldn't have like the polish in terms of just working and being crisp. Like I assume it would be some early access thing probably, or have it felt polished, just very lackluster.
Okay.
Which is like a weird thing you don't. It was just like it's not a kind of thing you see on PC games a lot recently, because it feels like when you get lackluster like that, you definitely feel like
I thought it was Wii
jank.
U.
It is Wii U.
Yeah.
I'm saying in comparison to
Gotcha.
like, if this game had come out on PC, how would it look? It would probably be a little jankier than it is on this platform. I just think like it there was polish there that just I feel like is like console standard stuff that doesn't get on to like if this were an early access game on Steam or something.
Right. Okay.
It was okay. It didn't grab me or anything though. I just felt like there's this thing. I downloaded this. Let's try this.
Right.
I didn't feel too strongly about it either way though. Like you go into a room and there are like giant swinging blades that you have to walk by, and there's a skeleton dude.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yay.
Yeah. No, not that exciting. But
Tell me about Town of Salem.
so Town of Salem's pretty old.
Yeah.
It's a browser-based game. It's a chat room game. I think it's also on Steam now, though.
Yeah, it
But-
is.
But you can just play it on the browser version for free. So whatever. That's a cool browser game. Like as far as chat, like it feels like it's the kind of thing that would like be like a board game
Mm-hmm.
or like a card game, but it takes like 16 people to play or something, so it wouldn't ever be feasible to play it without the internet, really. So it's basically you get assigned a role at random, and there are 3 mafia members, and there's 1 serial killer, and then the rest of the people are townsfolk. Yeah, it's basically the werewolves. So the mafia people are trying to kill the serial killer and the townsfolk. The serial killer is trying to kill everyone. The townsfolk are trying to figure out who the mafia people are and who the serial killer is. And they have different abilities. Like there's like a vigilante who can go and kill someone at night. But if he kills an innocent townsperson, then he will shoot himself the next day.
Okay.
The serial killer can kill anyone at night except certain, like the Godfather is immune, who's the leader of the mafia. Certain other people are immune. There's like a jailer who can put someone in jail during night, but if it's the serial killer can also kill him. There's just a bunch of things, and it's all about like talking to people in chat and trying to figure out who's lying, trying to lie your way through situations where people should figure out that it's you, and you just see dumb mob mentality stuff because every day people can nominate to have someone hung. So you just see like, oh, we should hang this person, and everyone's like, well, okay, I guess we'll hang that guy because what else are we gonna do? And then sometimes you'll have people get up for being hung, and then people will vote not to hang them after they've been nominated to hung, and that's interesting too. People change their minds. It's just like, as far as a chat room game goes, I think it's pretty good. It's cool. It's a cool thing.
So you played a few rounds?
Played a bunch of this game, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like, when we weren't playing Dota 2, you would switch over to this. That was
Weird.
That was just a thing. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It has a dumb thing where it has, like, cosmetic stuff, that seems like it takes a fucking forever to play that game to unlock any of that stuff. But if you're playing with people, or if people like recognize you, like your cosmetic stuff is going to give you away who you are.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if you're playing with people on a call, like you have to turn that stuff off because people will notice that you are the same dumb. You have the same dumb dragon behind you all the time, or whatever.
Weird.
Yeah.
What about Duelist?
So I was playing a shit ton of Duelist. I finally got rank 10, which got me into gold rank one month.
Okay.
And then the next month I tried and I like got really close but failed the next day. But I failed because on the last day of that month, they completely upended that game and changed a shit ton about it. Like, you only draw one card per turn now,
Oh, weird.
which fucking changes that whole game and made my deck kind of bad.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer, actually. I don't like that change at all. That makes that game way more like Hearthstone. It doesn't have the same kind of fast pace that made me really like it. So I'm kind of bummed out because they made a huge change. Like, they changed a bunch of cards too, but really it's the 2 cards per turn thing I really liked that made me feel like I always had options. Where now it feels much more like another card game. It doesn't have that fucking energy that made me really like it.
That's too bad.
It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
They also you're giving out a fucking reroll where you can turn all your cards back into spirit orbs temporarily. I don't know if it's probably expires soon, but I don't know when. And I was thinking of doing that because my deck was shit, so I wanted new cards and just the fun of opening up all those packs at once.
Yeah,
Would
you
be
should.
cool.
For
I should
sure.
do that, but that might have passed. I'm not actually sure because I was just so bummed out by the 2 cards per turn thing, and that they did it on the last day of the month of us before a season ended. That fucked me out of getting gold. Like, that was
Nice.
annoying. That I was pretty pissed.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah, I was bummed. I'm bummed. 2 cards per turn fucking made that game so much faster. It's much slower now. They took it out because the bursting became too much of a problem, but that was what was fun for me. I guess on the high end it was making games too similar, but I don't know. It took out a lot of the fun for me.
That's too bad. That sucks when games do that.
Yeah, it makes me feel better about putting the beta of it on my top 10 list game from last year because the version that they've decided is going to be the final version is like a different game that I don't like as much.
Yeah. So it'll always be remembered in its prime on the internet.
Yep.
Cool. I think that's it for games.
That seems to be it for games.
Let's jump to anime. I want to know...
Well, we didn't talk about Siege at all, actually.
Oh, yeah. You bought Siege.
I bought Siege.
That game's good.
Yeah. I finally had a good moment with it where I was playing on my own and I was the last person left alive and I killed 3 people to win.
Yeah.
We were on defense. So I felt pretty good.
Who did you play as?
Rook, I think, is because I was on defense.
Rook's super useful.
Yeah. I like that shotgun.
Yeah. So, you have, like... Did you get it because, like, you now, like, have a solid group of people that you could play with pretty much every night of the week?
Like, that was definitely an appeal. Seeing that there are people playing that game, like, any game that has people playing it I could play with is always going to be more appealing to me than something not. But also just that I finally had fun with it. Like, that was kind of keeping me from buying it, was I really hadn't had fun with it until this past weekend when I finally started to, like, get a hold of it.
And you played for the last 2 days as well, like Monday
Yeah.
and Tuesday. Mm-hmm. How were those times?
They're fun. I'm fucking terrible at that game still, but I had fun.
Yeah, that game actually has, like, a curve to it that, like, if you play shooters, like, you're probably going to be bad at Siege because it plays different.
It doesn't work because you have to know, like, these specific angles and you have to know the maps I don't know a lot of them yet.
Yeah. And like how you can use walls and like blowing shit up and stuff to your advantage.
Yeah, because like poking holes through walls and like making kill holes, like that's stuff about that game that's super cool and is not like other games.
Yeah.
But, like, you have to have a fucking handle on that game to be able to use that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for
Like,
sure.
And there's still too many times where like I just don't even know where a person's coming from, and I can't see them when I get shot and die. Like I just don't know where they are even.
My biggest problem with that game is still remembering I have drones and I should use them because why not?
Uh-huh.
Like I always just forget that those exist and that intel is super, super useful.
It's super useful.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's fun. You're right though. It's the weird thing about that game is that like the things you have to have are friends to play it with, like are a bonus for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know the maps and you have to like have a few good operators that you can pick.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like not figuring out what operators I'm gonna like with before I buy them is not.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Luckily, you get like renown pretty easily in that game from
Yeah,
just
for sure.
playing it, so that's a plus.
Yeah, like I've just started unlocking some just because I will want them later. At this point,
I'm at a
Even
point
if
in
I'm
that
not ready
game
to
where
play
I
them.
have all the operators finally, and so like now renown's just building because I have nothing to do with it, which is
Yeah.
okay.
that seems both okay and like I wish I had something to do with all this for now.
Like, I could buy skins, but like I know that as soon as I do, they're gonna release something awesome that I should have not wasted my money to get.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
game's super good.
It was also fucking Uplay stuff was what kept me from buying it before.
Yep.
Like that with like the last time I had played it before this weekend, we had like connection issues and you can't rejoin a game if you fucking have a disconnect.
Yep.
That put a bad taste in my mouth too.
The disconnects are the least I've ever seen in that game this last month. So I think they fixed something.
That's good. I wish they'd just let you reconnect to a game if you got disconnected. That would make that sting much less, but
Yep. Definitely agree, for sure. And like for people that might not know, like we play a lot with Corey and like his crew of miscreants over at his channel. So if you're into like Siege or just want to watch some Siege and like into Gungeon for whatever fucking reason and stuff like that, you should probably check him out. Twitch.tv/Flackblag. He's like super late night. I think he starts at 10 p.m. his time, which is Pacific, and usually goes to about 4 his time. So like, yeah, he goes late night, which is
Yeah.
cool. Like, I was saying to him that like you'd probably get like way more viewers and stuff because he's a likable guy and stuff, and he plays big games and whatnot. So I was saying like you'd probably get like way more viewers and stuff if you played during like primetime hours and stuff. But I also said in the same breath, but like it's super convenient for me that like I have something to watch when I get home.
uh-huh.
So like I'm not complaining.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I like watching him stream.
yeah.
I've been doing it. Yep.
I like watching Siege specifically, and I don't know why. I think it's just like seeing neat new tricks people do, and like the thing about Siege is that it never really plays the same way twice because of
Yeah.
different ways you can attack and defend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's super cool. It's a super
there's-
cool game.
Yeah, there's a lot. The way I heard it described once was like, it's like comparing it to what it does for shooters is like comparable to like the way Portal made you rethink spaces in terms of like how
Yeah.
you can shoot through walls.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it just fucking opens up so many possibilities in terms of what you can do. Like it's a fucking that destructible wall stuff is just fucking good and changes the game in a lot of ways.
For sure. The same way that Red Faction did years ago,
Yeah.
but like to a tactical degree, not like a run and gun degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. It's a great game. I want to know about Ace Attorney anime.
The Ace Attorney anime. Yo, you know that game?
I do.
Yo, they straight up took that story and turned it into an anime.
So I don't
It
even
is
have to play now. I can just watch it.
pretty much.
Will I miss anything if I like don't play it? Like will I miss any like cute comedy things or like weird gameplay stuff?
You probably missed some things. I mean, I really only watched the first episode so far. For
Okay.
me, the thing with this adapting the very start of the game is A, I've already played that game. B, I've also seen a movie that I think does that story even better.
Okay.
So, like, freely, that Ace Attorney movie is so fucking good, but that's just the story of the first game. Like, this is just going to keep going, so it has that advantage, I think.
Uh-huh.
I assume so. But it's also a little dry in terms of just watching it this way. Like, there are advantages to playing it as a game, particularly if you're playing it on mobile.
Which
For
I'm
sure.
not.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, that I don't think that really that's necessarily the wrong way to experience that story is just watch that show. Just for me, I've seen this story twice, so it was like, yeah, this is okay, but I know all this. I know all these gags. Also, on Crunchyroll, they were subtitling it with the Japanese names, so they weren't the names I know.
Oh, weird. Okay.
You have to. I think there are fan subs out there that put in it's Larry Butts, man. It's
Larry Butts.
It wasn't Larry Butts. It was like, what? What?
All right. So the thing I like from the little I played of Ace Attorney,
Yeah.
and I need to know if this is recreated in either one, the anime or the movie, I guess. I like when like you're questioning somebody and then they like explain away why something doesn't work and your character kind of gets down for a second and then like you like know what's going on or whatever, so you put it in and then he's like, wait a second, and like the music starts building and then he's just like has that moment where he's like, I got it, and then he's like, objection and stuff like that, and you're just like, yes, like
Yeah.
it just gets all epic.
I would say the movie definitely has that.
Okay, the anime
The-
not so much.
The anime has it too. Actually, it's fucking hilarious that when he does like when they do hand gestures, they just fucking have wind in the room. Like it creates wind and blows people back. Like,
That's
they
pretty
actually
good.
Do it.
Okay. Okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
What you're saying is I need to watch that movie. Really?
Yeah, that movie is fucking good.
Okay.
That movie is good. That movie is what I saw first. Like I saw that movie and it's like I need to play this game.
Oh,
Like I'd
okay.
heard all the hype about Ace Attorney. I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll play it one day. And then I watched that movie. It's like I need to get on this because that movie was fucking good. Like with no attachment to that franchise and thinking it was kind of overhyped as a thing. Like I really like that movie.
Okay. Yeah,
I like
I
that.
need to see it.
I like that director a lot.
Okay.
Director of Yakuza Apocalypse.
Oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do want to see it. You should remind me at some point this weekend.
Okay.
To watch it if you remember. I'll try to remember as well.
All right.
The other thing you have for anime here is Durarara.
Dorora times 2, which ended.
Okay.
Its ending was really good. That's one of my favorite animes of all time. And I'm sad it's over. I'm not sure if there's going to be more. There might be more light novels. So they might make more. I'm not sure.
I don't know what this is. So what's like the concept for this anime? What's going on?
Basically, it's like it's about a city, like about Ikeburo in Japan. And
Okay.
it's about sort of there are all these rival gangs, and it's when Durara starts, there's this new gang has started called the Dollars, there had been this color war between the blue squares and the yellow scarves that had ended, but the Dollars were this new gang. They were colorless because they came from an anonymous internet forum. That's how they started
Okay.
up. And sort of a lot of the show is like it has a huge cast of characters, and they're all really good and interesting and play off each other in interesting ways. And it like creates the feeling of like a living city better than any show I've seen, kind of, except like I guess The Wire. But in terms of like anime, it's really good at creating the feeling of a city of just all these disparate characters that are all super interesting and weird. And it's also like a lot of it's about different fucked up kinds of love.
Yeah, okay. I'm
Like,
in.
there's also like there's magical elements. Like there's this homicidal sword that is attached to different people that then cuts them, and then they are in love with the sword person, and like they become zombies or whatever. There are lots of different things. There's a character who is a motorcycle rider who has no head. She's like she's Celty, and she has like a motorcycle helmet with cat ears.
Okay.
She's a really cool character. She talks by typing in her phone, but they just put voiceover. But really, it's just a person holding up a phone with text. It's just funny. It's just funny. It's just a really good show with lots of great characters. The animation team did another show with the same, based on light novels written by the same author, which is Bacano, which is only like, which is a very few episodes. So that's actually the one I would recommend people watch first, just because it's shorter. Even though I don't think it's quite as good. That's about a train, like this train ride that happened long ago, and it sort of jumps forth in time. But it also has that same thing of just a huge cast of characters that are super interesting. That's really good. It's not quite as good, I don't think, as Durara overall, but it'll get you the idea of that kind of the writing style that show goes for, and just a huge cast of characters that are all interesting and play off each other in different ways. And then it gets like there's lots of action and violence and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah,
That sounds cool.
those are just good fun shows.
Neat. All right. I guess we have to talk about this. Let's talk about movies. Let's talk about Batman vs Superman.
Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
So, I fucking hated Man of Steel. I really hate that movie.
Yeah, I like that movie.
I just think it's bad.
Yeah, that's fine. You're wrong, but go ahead.
I think it also gets Superman wrong, but
It does
I care-
actually get Superman wrong, which is why I like it. Because
But I
I don't
care-
like
I
Superman.
care less about it because I didn't like its color palette. I didn't like the way it told stories. I think the actual character it screws up the most is his dad.
Oh,
Jonathan
for sure.
Kent. 'Cause
For
that
sure.
character makes no fucking sense when he
Nope.
walks into that tornado.
Nope.
Oh my god.
You're right. It's really bad, actually.
Really
That part.
bad, and I really don't like the way it specifically hones in on 9/11 imagery in its disaster porn
Yeah,
stuff.
there's
like,
some
that
weird
just
shit.
fucking bothers me.
Well, I mean, for like
Yeah,
where you
I
live
fucking
and stuff.
live-
Sure.
Yeah, I lived through that. Like, that gets to me.
Sure.
So, and there's a part of me that's just like, why is Zack Snyder making this movie? He clearly doesn't really like Superman. He wants to tell these stories that don't fit for Superman. Like, Superman saves people. That's like part of what he does, and like telling a story where he fails to save all these people and doesn't even try. It doesn't.
It's
doesn't
weird.
It
Yeah.
also he told a story that was like this Superman he created shouldn't have cared about killing. Like, really, what his dad taught him, he shouldn't have given a shit. That no at the end rings hollow to me because that character shouldn't have cared. I just also don't like the way it's shot in terms of how it cuts and edits stuff. This movie is fucking weird. I don't hate it as much as Man of Steel,
Uh-huh.
but it's not a good movie. The weirdest part about it to me is it focuses so much on Ben Affleck as Batman. Like,
Right. Like
like,
they
a
wanted
lot
to
of-
make a Batman movie,
yeah,
is what I
for
heard.
sure. It opens up with stuff about Batman. Like, it's the whole opening part of the movie is seeing that disaster stuff from like Bruce Wayne's perspective as he like fucking drives into this disaster in really dumb ways. And there's a big product placement Jeep in there.
Great.
As 9/11 imagery is happening, which is fucking great. they feel the need to tell Bruce's origin story again because you obviously need the origin of Batman again.
Uh-huh.
Um, but ultimately, Batman is a minor villain in this story.
I kind of like that take, though.
Like the problem is like this movie is so much like in love with Batman.
Oh,
But
weird,
then-
yeah.
But then when the fight happens, like Superman is in the right. Like Batman is like doesn't have all the information and is making a mistake where Superman's just trying to like talk to him and like get him to help him save his mom. Like that's all Superman is there for. Like Superman's not trying to win that fight. He's trying to talk to Batman and Batman is just fucking trying to shit on him. And like it's fucking weird cuz in your mind Batman is cooler than Superman. Like that's even I like Superman. Batman is a better character than Superman. Nobody fucking likes Batman. Very few people like Superman better than Batman.
It's
But the
weird
movie-
that, like, Batman would be the irrational one.
Yeah, he's the one in the wrong. He's the dumb one. Like my biggest problem with this movie is how Zack Snyder fucking doesn't understand Superman and likes, but clearly maybe not even like Superman. He clearly likes Batman, but he doesn't understand him any better. This Batman is a fucking idiot. He's mostly easily emotionally manipulated by Lex Luthor in this movie. That's like his
Weird.
whole story. He doesn't figure anything out. Lex Luthor like points him at Superman, like sends him a couple things in the mail, and Batman is so mad that he just goes after Superman. It's like my description of my review was this movie's just lame because it makes Batman lame.
Yeah, that's
Like,
weird.
He just sucks. He's such a dumb Batman.
I heard
terms
that
of how
Affleck
it's
did
written.
okay, though, acting.
Affleck is fine, but the character he's playing is just so fucking like it's such a fucking jock dumb Batman
Great.
that it's like
That's what I think of when I think Batman. A dumb character.
Yeah. He's just a fucking emotional child. It's like there's a 1% chance we have to kill him. We have to kill Superman. He's also super into using guns,
That's weird.
which is just a little weird.
I
Like
mean,
get-
that's Batman's origin, though.
yeah, and I get that he's Scott Snyder mostly is just fucking in love with Dark Knight Returns, where Batman I think does use a gun like once, just because it's there. But that's not like the modern Batman has kind of evolved since that. Like Dark Knight Returns is like a reaction to the Adam West Batman. Like that's what that's like Adam West Batman when he got old. Like that's what that story was.
Yeah.
But modern Batman is way more defined by like the Batman the Animated Series is like modern Batman.
Sure.
And like this feels like going backwards to like an earlier thing. It just doesn't quite feel like Batman. Like Batman has sort of been refined since that story. And it's just fucking and then there's just other dumb stuff on top of that because you know, you have to like it has the thing of like the Batman Superman fight happens and then there's a lot of movie left. Because you have to have Doomsday. And the
Yeah.
thing I'll say about if you're gonna do the Doomsday story, you should do it the way the comic books did it, where you should start the movie with Doomsday just shows up and is fucking wrecking shit. If you're just gonna make that movie, which is just this dumb brute wrecking shit that can fucking beat up Superman, just fucking do it. Don't like dick me around with this mystery and these like two forces being pitted against each other because they're being manipulated and they're dumb, and then throw this dumb brute at me. It's like just fucking too long and exhausting. And there's just like no joy in this movie. It's not fun anywhere. Like the biggest bright spot to me is actually Wonder Woman, who I don't care about at all.
I
but
hear she's great.
She smiles once in this movie, and that stands out so much compared to the rest of it. Like she's in a fight and she's having fun, just like the thrill of battle. She smiles once. It's fucking in comparison to the rest of that movie, it's a fucking beacon. Like it's just amazing. It's like not that much, but when you're watching this thing, it stands out. Like honestly, I watched this movie. I was like, I could watch a Wonder Woman movie. That would probably work.
Yeah.
Like fucking, they put in a character who has fun doing cool shit.
I mean,
Awesome.
they made a Daredevil movie, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one though.
Yeah. Yeah. let's go ahead and say there's going to be a spoiler warning here.
Yeah.
Because, so, like, Wayward, I know you're in the chat. If anybody's listening live and you, like, don't want to be spoiled, maybe skip until you see the talking about at the bottom of the page change. Or, like, just mute. Otherwise, you've been warned. I hear Superman just straight up gets murderized.
Yeah, but then there's a scene at the very... Because that's the Doomsday story of Doomsday shows up and beats Superman to death.
Yeah, but I didn't think they'd actually have the balls to go through with it.
Well, they don't, because last fucking shot of the movie is like the dirt on Superman's grave moving. Like, he's not gonna be dead. Like, it's stupid for them to do it. Because the reason it only worked in the comics was, like, obviously Superman's gonna come back, but it took like a long time. Like, there was a long time where they got to tell all these other stories while Superman was dead. That's the interesting part of that thing, really, is like the rise of the Supermen. Like, as far as that story goes, really the most interesting stuff is the part where Superman's dead. And they get to introduce all these other characters and mess around with how the universe is different without him.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to have any of that with this movie. Like, they're just going to fucking bring him back. It's sort of comparable to the way that Star Trek Into Darkness kills Kirk, but then brings him back right at the end of the movie.
Right.
Like, just like, they're doing this just because it's like a reference to some other story, but they don't actually have the balls to like build on anything on that or really do it.
Right. Okay.
It's just fucking, it's dumb. It's lame. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's like a lot of stuff in this movie setting up other DC movies. It's like, why are you doing that? There's this whole fucking subplot with the Senate that doesn't go anywhere. Like, it just literally ends with them, with Lex Luthor blowing them up. And you're like, why did that even happen then?
Does he play a good Lex? I'm gonna guess no.
Well, no, he goes way too far into crazy. Like, he's just fucking. He mostly just seems like someone who's like has like anxiety disorder and is just fucking whacked out. Okay. But then like he goes full just fucking insane. There's no nuance to him at all. He's not interesting. Like, it's literally taking out anything that could be interesting about Lex Luthor. And really, the interesting thing about Lex Luthor in his history has been when he became businessman Lex, and he was just a problem for Superman that Superman couldn't solve with punching.
Right.
Like, that's what Lex was, and he's like just not that here. He's like a part of the plot that manipulates Batman into fighting Superman, and then he creates Doomsday. And then Doomsday is the thing Superman fights, and then Lex Luthor is just in jail at the end of the movie.
Great.
Like, he's just not that. He's just nothing. He's not interesting.
Yeah.
He's just fucking creepy and weird. Like, there's like a scene that like implies his dad abused him. Great.
Who cares?
That's fun. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And you're needlessly making this like inappropriate for kids, like for no end.
Great. Well,
it's just a lame movie. Like, I don't even have quite hatred for it. It's just because I knew what I was getting into when I saw it. Probably is a big part of that too. But it's just lame. Like, there's a Batman fight that's in the trailer where Batman fights a bunch of guys in a warehouse, and that's actually shot probably better than Batman fights in any other Christopher Nolan movies, just because the camera is like back and there's stuff happening. But that's like 2 minutes of a fucking 3-hour movie, like, whatever.
Just as a side note, your review of that did quite well on Facebook.
Yeah, I noticed. Hilarious comments. There were hilarious comments.
So people are fans.
Apparently.
One dude says, I liked it. That's his comment to you. And that's fine.
It's fine. If someone else likes it, that's fine. But yeah, the movie made a shit ton of money initially, and then kind of fell off enough that it isn't really a success, despite making being the most highest box office movies ever. Like, it didn't really make the $1 billion they wanted it to. Because people like Batman and Superman, but really, this movie sucks. Like, that's how you fuck it up.
Yeah.
You put Batman and Superman in a movie, people are gonna fucking show up. But if it's no fun and fucking bored and like lame and overlong and overcomplicated and Batman's dumb, like, word of mouth is terrible. It patted that down.
Wayward's asking, but were there Nathan tier comments? Oh, you mean like this comment? I actually thought the movie was really good. It could have been better, but I wanted to see Batman and Superman fight and Wonder Woman finally in a movie. This is a film for the fans.
This is a film for the fans. Is my favorite part.
It's
like,
real
because
good.
I'm not a fan of Batman and Superman. Like, what?
Are you able to see how many people like see the posts on Facebook?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Do you want to know the number for that one?
Sure.
4,551.
Wow.
Do you want to know the one for Boy and the Beast?
Oh, I'm sure it's like
27.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, no, people, that is a movie for the fans.
I mean, a big reason I watched that movie was to write a review of it. Like, if I
Sure.
skipped it if I wasn't gonna do that. Like, I really saw it to write the review. So I'm glad it people saw it.
Sure.
I also think putting lame in the eye catch line was helpful. Like, this movie is lame.
Yeah.
That's a good, dumb, inflammatory thing to say. Sort of.
Like this other guy that comments on it saying lame, pff, you're lame.
I like that comment.
That's comment's real good. He's used the wrong your. Oh no, he didn't. I'm an idiot. He used the right one. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, person. I'm not gonna call it. It's weird calling out names on Facebook because it's like literally their real name.
Yeah. I also liked seeing some of the comments got their own likes. That was cool.
Yeah, like the one that this is a film for the fans.
Yeah, this is a film for the fans. I like that one put in it could have been better. Like, I'm glad he had enough like cognitive capacity to realize this movie could have been better.
Look, it's so good. I actually thought the movie was really good. Sure, it could have been better.
But I just wanted to see Batman and Superman fight. Just wanted to see it.
You know what? Sure. He knows. Yeah. He knows what he wanted, and he got it.
Yeah, but I've seen Batman and Superman fight before. There's the episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold that has Superman in it. Is really fucking good, and has Batman and Superman fight, and it does the dumb. But it does. That's like full of references to Silver Age stuff. So it just straight up does the red kryptonite thing. So Superman's evil, which is how that fight works. Batman is the underdog, so you have to make Superman the bad guy for that fight to work. It fucking baffles me that this movie made Batman the bad guy. Why do you do that? I don't even get it. Like, that's just fucking weird.
Yeah. No, it's dumb. All right, we have to get off this topic. Okay. So that review got reached apparently 4,550-ish people.
Uh-huh.
How many do you think The Jungle Book reached?
5?
You're really fucking close. It's 6.
Nice.
So yeah, you watched The Jungle Book.
Yeah, that movie is not great.
No.
I enjoyed it, but it's stupid. Like, why are you making a movie that's entirely dependent on having seen, that's like a total reference to the Disney Jungle Book? Like, it's not like it's more faithful to the book, really. It's just like a darker live action adaptation of that other movie. And I really like the Jungle Book I think is really great, but it doesn't really tap into what makes that book work. I haven't read that book in a long time though. So
I've never read it.
I mean, I read it as a kid, honestly, but I remember it being there's stuff about how it like just the language it worked, and like the idea of an ape wanting to be a person that works really well when you're reading it as text. It doesn't work so well when it's Christopher Walken as a gargantuan ape that's singing. Like, that doesn't have the same impact, honestly. Also, Christopher Walken is a giant gargantuan ape that sings in this movie.
That
And Bill
sounds great.
Murray. Bill Murray is a bear.
I hate Bill Murray.
So the thing with like big thing with this movie to me compared to the original is just like they do the animated movie, the modern animated movie thing of getting like named actors instead of voice actors. So none of the voices like hit as hard as they do in that animated movie. Like it just sounds like people talking. It doesn't have that over the topness that breathes life into that stuff.
Wayward's right, by the way. Christopher Walken as a singing ape sounds like a thing I want to see.
Yeah, like I don't hate this. I think this movie's okay. Like that stuff was funny, and I'm glad they put in at least 2 of the songs from the original referenced. Although they do like more ease them in as feel like characters singing rather than like the hard musical thing of now this is the song part of the movie, which I don't know. It has its place, but like this movie is fucking long too, like comparatively. Jungle Book is like a 70-minute movie and has filler. So
How long is this?
this is like probably an hour and a half, maybe.
Oh, okay. That's not that long.
It's not that long. But for a kids movie, it's pretty long.
Yeah.
And this is still, it's darker, but it's still a fucking kids movie. And like, Idris Elba plays Shere Khan and he doesn't have that like gravitas that Shere Khan does in the original Jungle Book. And I fucking love Idris Elba.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't, he's not like Shere Khan is in the book, where he's just a fucking bully here, where he just shows up and I'm gonna fucking kill Mowgli. And you aren't gonna give me Mowgli? Oh, I'm gonna throw you off a bridge. I'm gonna throw you off a mountain. Like he's just a strong asshole.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what he is in like the Jungle Book, where people are afraid of him. Except he just in that movie he just turns out to be, they just kind of deal with him sort of easily because that movie's super short. He's got fire to his tail, but he at least has like a presence. Whereas in the book, it's like, it's a much longer game, and he's much more about manipulating people and turning people against Mowgli. That's just not going to do in this story because it's like a super quick bam, 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 bam things happening story. Not enough time for him to really. There's like a flavor of him trying to get it, where Mowgli ends up in this like going to the human village and bringing fire back, and he accidentally sets the jungle on fire before he fights Shere Khan. But like, it doesn't work because it's like a barely a full moment in the movie, instead of being like a whole structure around which the story is based, in terms of being like this interesting thing of, is Mowgli belong here? Like he's a fucking human, or fucking thus like slowly turning people against him. There's no manipulation. He's just a big asshole who wants to murder everyone unless this little kid is dead. And everyone's like, we kind of like this little kid. Like, we don't want him to kill. We'll get rid of him, but we don't want to just give him to you to murder.
Right.
He's like, nope, that's unacceptable.
Nope, murder time.
Murder time, pretty much.
Is it worth my time?
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, if you watched it, it wouldn't be the worst time you would have, but it's probably not worth your time to seek out.
Okay.
Like, if you're stuck on an airplane and it was this or watching Pixels again, I would say watch this, but...
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's not even a question. Cool.
Like, it's fine. In my review, I was like, it's almost like even a good movie, but it's so fucking pointless and unnecessary. Like, literally just go watch the old Jungle Book again. Like, I kind of don't get why they didn't just re-release that to theaters again. As like a double feature, because that's probably too short to justify ticket price or something.
That'd be kind of cool.
Because that's what they did. Like that's what they used to do. Like the Jungle Book was re-released like 4 times, and it's like the 29th highest grossing movie ever. Because they released it multiple times and it made money every time. Because taking your kids to see like an animated movie is like a thing, and that's like a short enough time that like kids can stand it. So you could take younger kids, like, or they would just Netflix it. Yeah, Netflix is probably the reason why, but I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
there are some people who are super into this movie, and I don't get it.
That seems to be a running theme with you. Let's talk about The Revenant for 5 hours.
This is a much smaller number of people. This is a different scale.
That's it for movies.
Yep, that's all I saw. There
Cool.
hasn't been a lot. There hasn't really been anything that I've been super interested to. So I really just went to these movies because there was something else.
It's
I
a
felt
movie
sick.
for the fans, Homer.
For the fans. It's a movie for the fans. For the fans.
That argument works on every movie.
Movie for the fans. It is a movie for the people who like this movie. That is who it is for. I mean, you're not wrong.
All right. Well, it's everybody's favorite time where we talk about random bullshit.
Yay! That's
Yay.
my time.
Let's talk about Mitomo and how I can't stop checking it every day when I wake up.
That's hilarious.
Okay, this is really dumb, but whatever. I used to like check Twitter a lot.
Uh-huh.
I check Mitomo now instead of Twitter. Like, I'll open that first and then Twitter.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What do you even say about it? I like that they talk their
Yes.
answers. That's why I go to it.
I also like that it's not censored at all because you're just only the stuff you're seeing is only surfaced to people on your friends list.
Yeah.
So they can get away with having you do whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's key.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was actually surprised when I heard this, like, I can't fucking believe it, or whatever. Like, it was weird.
Yeah. I like using the dumb, weird, creepy pictures of things I had on my phone and putting my me in front of them. I like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like just doing the stupid pictures every now and then.
I remembered when we were talking about, we talked about it a little bit, not on the podcast. I remember you saying there was some answer I'd given that made you laugh. And
Yeah.
it was like, what do you think Paul spends most of his time doing? And my answer was working. I think that was the one.
No, it was something else.
Really?
It was something about, like, looking for love or something.
Oh, okay. That one was, I forget. I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. At this point now, though, like, I want that full day bonus that you get every day. So there is a few times this week where I forgot to check it until, like, I got home from work. And that was, like, 11:45. And I freaked the fuck out, grabbed my phone, and just, like, opened it and just took a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I've not checked that thing in a while now.
Yeah, you lost your daily bonus.
Yep. I lost it. But all I really want to do is put him in front of a couple more pictures I have on my phone.
When did it come out?
I don't remember.
Because I think I'm on, like, day 18 or something. Did it come out the, like, second or third or something? No, it probably was, like, the 31st or the
It was
1st.
it was the 31st.
Yeah. It was on a TDP night.
Nice.
Why am I on day, like, 18 or something? Maybe I should check it again.
Weird.
Yeah.
That thing
Anyway,
is dumb.
yeah,
And I feel like a lot of people have uninstalled it off their phones because it takes up a lot of space.
not me. It just updated today again.
Nice.
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time on the, like, plinko thing.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, trying to get some cat outfits. And I got all the cat things I wanted. So I have a cat hat. I have a cat hanging off my shoulder. And, like, a cat hoodie. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. That thing's real dumb.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But it's what Tomodachi Life should have been.
It's weird, too, because, like, I could totally see why that, like, Mitomo wouldn't appeal to anybody or be boring after a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like when Mitomo came out, I was just like, when I woke up in the morning, I jumped on that shit, installed it, and just went on Twitter and was like, everyone add me. And then 70 friend requests after a couple hours, I was like, okay, like I gotta start deleting people.
Stop adding me, please.
You can't just like add all friends either. You have to go one by one.
Yeah.
So I just stopped, like, for like, unless I recognize their name, I just wouldn't like add them back. Because it got to a point where, like, I also had push notifications on for the first couple days. It was actually ringing or, like, vibrating or whatever every 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. Which I'm guessing is when, like, the push notification thing would, like, refresh. Mm-hmm. It was bad. Like, I got actually frustrated with it. But it was kind of cool because every time, like, I was bored, I had, like, 20 things I could read.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, I pared it down to people that I talk to on the internet regularly, and of course real life people now, and like deleted a bunch of just random people that added me, and I don't know how they added me.
Yeah.
I also find it's weird that like if you share friends in common, it's just like friends with I am 3D Homer, etc.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean, etc.? Like say like and 3 others or something. It's weird.
Nope, etc.
Yeah.
Everyone beyond one person is just whatever.
They're also friends with I'm 3D Homer, etc. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yada, yada, yada.
Exactly. Tell me about VR streams.
So Giant Bomb did launch streams for Oculus and fucking the Vive.
Yeah.
And they basically they checked out every game. They checked out every game that was launched on Oculus and pretty much everything that was used touch controllers and was new on Steam for the Vive at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of shit, and there was a lot of shit.
Okay.
Kind of the most interesting thing probably was on the Vive. The game is still in early access, but it was like a multiplayer shooter where you're like in this weird little like hovercraft thing, and you like physically put up cover around yourself, and like your triggers have like there's like you have these move controllers, so you have dumb ways of like you have to rotate a thing and like you flick a thing out for your revolver and like manually rotate it to reload it, or you're like cocking shotguns, but it's like actually about you're in this little physical space that you then steer around and then shoot people, and you can like wave at them and stuff. It's like it was like the one thing that felt the most like a full game, whereas a lot of the other stuff either felt like tech demo-y stuff or just not enough different about it. Like there was on like the most gamey thing probably on Oculus was I forget what it's called, but it's just an RTS, and you're just sort of looking down at a third-person thing, and you're just sort of like you're commanding it that way. So it's more about like you're just looking at this big table kind of in virtual space. And there were a bunch of games like that were using the perspective that way of treating it like you're just looking at a big table kind of, and you can like peer down and look at it, but for the most part you're just sort of looking out. And that one did a good thing of wish I could remember names of these games, but it did a thing of like when you're in a lobby, the dumb robot version of that person would show up in that lobby and would like talk to you, and their head would move the way their actual head was moving, which was just a weird thing of like simple things, and you could actually see them on the field and in like the distance. But at the end of the day, it was just a fucking really pretty simple RTS that was being played out there with a controller. Like,
weird.
It's like it just doesn't seem like for the most part, a lot of the software just didn't seem like it was there and seemed kind of overpriced in addition to that for what it was. If you compared that game, if that game came out on Steam, it would be whatever. So it doesn't seem like, for as much as people have hyped up the hardware, and the hardware seems super cool, it does not seem like software is there on that stuff yet. It is still basically the same software people were seeing when they saw those headsets fucking 2 years ago.
Gotcha. Tech demos. Really?
Yeah, yeah. There was also some weird, fucked up video stuff that just seemed terrible. Like, there's also plenty of weird garbage. Although one of the best things about the Vive stuff was the phenomenon. Like, the running joke became, is this does this character not have a head? Because, like, part of the thing, if you're in a first person game, you don't want the head to be in the way. So a lot of the ways developers solve this is just there's just this body there that doesn't have a head. So, like, in Project Cars, Drew was playing it and literally got up out of his chair and, like, squatted next to it, so, like, he was in the passenger's seat and then could look at his headless body. Just fucking weird.
Weird.
There's also just weird things, like, if you looked around at, like, the car you were in, like, it didn't have real rear wheels because they weren't rendering them just to save processor power or something. There's just weird, like, because you have to allow people to, like, move their head and kind of explore, there's just weird, you could see around the corner in a lot of weird ways. Although Adrift just kept resetting you to where you were, so I wonder if games will just start doing that and stop letting your head float freely away from your body.
Weird.
Just weird things. It also seems like the amount of space you need for the Vive is ridiculous and varies between games. Like, games can require you to have a certain amount for them to work. Like, and you fucking need the full free space. It just seems like Giant Bomb doesn't even have enough space in their studio to do the full size for the Vive.
I hear that's a common thing. Actually, a lot of these, like, people are saying, like, we have a studio, we barely have enough room or don't.
Yeah. Which seems kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The whole thing just seems like it's not there yet, even though it's now kind of out to the public, although they have also had problems shipping to people, so it's also kind of not out in certain ways. It just doesn't seem like maybe they'll get there, but also it just sounds like even if you're super into fidelity, these aren't the platforms for you because the screens just aren't sharp enough. Like, there was talk about people using them as, like, just instead of having a giant monitor, you just look at a giant virtual monitor, but the fidelity on the screens apparently isn't high enough quality for that to really be worth it.
Weird.
So,
Huh.
it's not there in terms of that stuff.
Not yet.
Not yet. VR seems like it's just work in progress.
Well, I mean, a lot of people that, like, are actually smart and not just saying buzzwords out there about VR are saying that, like, the year VR will be probably in, like, 5 years. Like, when it's consumer friendly, there's a lot of stuff out for it and stuff. Like, this is still alpha stages. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, just because they're getting headsets out to people willing to pay for it doesn't mean it's, like, there yet.
Yeah. It's also the kind of thing, like, the kind of experience you're seeing, it's like, oh, I wish arcades still existed. Because these are arcade games, basically, is what people are creating in a lot of cases. Like, that would be really, really fucking cool if you're putting in, like, $1 and then playing it for a bit and then being done with it. And moving on to the next thing. Like, paying $40 for a fucking shooter where you're just fucking shooting targets in an open space. Like, it's cool, but it's not that cool when you've already spent all that money. It just doesn't seem like the thing yet.
Yeah. Yep. I have some other stuff we could talk about, like, kind of quickly.
Okay.
Microsoft announces that the Xbox 360 is dead. Or they're killing it off. They're stopping production of them.
Yeah. They probably
Completely.
still have a shit ton in
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
warehouses and stuff.
But they
It's
use the
just-
term while supplies last now, making it sound ominous.
Uh-huh. It's just funny that there are stories about the Wii U also ceasing production within the year, so
Yeah.
the Xbox 360 not making more things seems reasonable in comparison.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Also, they're not shutting down Live yet, which would be the big thing if they shut down Live on that console like they did with the original Xbox.
Oh, they took them so long for the original Xbox.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I'm not worried about that yet.
Nope. Also, like, I own a 360. It's not like I've used it recently, really.
Right.
I played Street Fighter Third Strike not that long ago, but that's about it. I'm not using that thing.
You're not chomping at the bit.
Nope. I mean, because even if there's like a game on it that I want to revisit, it's probably on PC, and I should probably just get it on PC for cheap. Like, what am I going to play on the 360 other than Azura's Wrath and Street Fighter Third Strike, if I want to play? But then that I could emulate. Like, I actually don't know
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I will probably replay Azura's Wrath again because I love that game.
What are some other weird things that happen? Ghost in the Shell movie is coming out, or being made or whatever, and they cast Scarlett Johansson as Motoko Kasunagi.
Yep.
And it pissed off the internet because Asian girl she is not.
Yep.
What do you think about this? Should
Not
she
really.
have been Asian? Should Scarlett Johansson actually be Japanese?
Well, probably.
With a name like Scarlett, for sure.
I mean, I don't care just because I don't really care about Ghost in the Shell. But
That's too bad. I think it's kind of neat.
I'm just not like it's okay. I just don't really care. My favorite thing about it was the robots in it were a lot of them were played by voice actors who voiced characters on Digimon. in
Okay.
the dub. So I liked that. And there was some episode they were all arguing philosophy stuff, which I just found funny. But that character, the character Scarlett Johansson playing, has the problem. Basically, every Scarlett Johansson character she's been playing recently has been having is she's playing characters that don't have emotions, that don't like express themselves very strongly. And it's just been frustrating for me because I think she can do other things. And I feel like she's just being stuck in this hole of playing characters that aren't actually very interesting in terms of their emotional range.
Yeah.
The other news, they're leaked full details of the PlayStation 4
Upgrade.
new model. Yeah, the Neo.
The Neo.
Which, like, the way they're doing it sounds totally reasonable.
Except that it won't guarantee 60 frames per second for every game.
Yeah. But I mean, I get why they would want to upgrade their hardware,
Sure.
because their hardware is fucking obsolete, and like almost every game review on their games talks about how the frame rate isn't there. So I get why they want to make a more powerful thing, like just period, of upgrading it. But really, a lot of the anger from fans is like being mad at that there's a new revision that will make their old thing not the thing, because people on consoles just want to have the thing and that be the thing for years. And there haven't really been enough games to justify this generation yet. So already talking about hardware seems like a push.
Yeah.
Like I get why they have to do it because it's there, but like the software for fucking this generation is fucking what? Like I don't want to buy those consoles.
No, but like now that I know a better one's coming out, I do want that. Like over the other.
Over the other one for sure. So it's also weird like that officially they still haven't said anything because like who the fuck is gonna buy a PS4 for the rest of this year? Like when they know one is coming in like October or something.
Right.
November.
Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking I really mostly just care because eventually Persona 5 is gonna come out on that thing and I'm gonna want it.
Mhm.
But it's looking like Persona 5 might be delayed again, so and doesn't even have a firm date yet. So the Neo will probably be out by then. So that's cool.
Sure.
Yeah, it's also just sort of it would be cool if eventually Bloodborne got patched to run better than 30 frames per second, because that's the only way that game runs right now.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't care about it anymore because DS3.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Yo, do you like McDonald's?
I do like McDonald's.
Do you like Big Macs?
No.
Okay, well, Big Macs are going to be getting different sizes.
Cool. People should have more choice.
They are apparently thinking of doing like a Mac Junior, which is like a single patty Big Mac, a Big Mac, and a Grand Mac.
Grand Mac.
And my favorite part of this story is that somebody on Twitter named Judah Chris said, "I'm disappointed they didn't call the larger Big Mac Mac Daddy." And he's right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. That is a disappointment.
Missed opportunity. China, the wrestler, died. Like today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You know China.
Nope.
Oh. Okay. Like, I think she was more 90s-ish. She was, like, one of the, like, first, like, real, like, I don't know what they call, I hate the name, like, WWF or WWE, like, divas, like, superstar.
Which
but, like,
they, like, just got rid of this past year.
they got rid of that term.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad term because it
Really
just
bad.
it has a bad connotation to, like,
Yes.
I mean, it's not a bad connotation so much as it's like just untrue of a word for like women that are strong and kick the shit out of people. Like that's not what a diva is. But
Yeah.
you know, whatever, branding and stuff.
Branding.
Yeah. But yeah, she died. What's her name now? Joni Laurer, I guess. Was it Joni? Joni Laurer, I believe. So she died. I don't think they said how, but it's kind of too bad because she was like not old and like super fit and strong.
There is a strong history of wrestlers dying prematurely.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Fucking
not.
wrestling is fucking hard on you. Is the real thing.
Sure. I mean, but like,
In lasting.
I don't think
Yeah,
like as many wrestlers die in a year than like dentists do.
I mean, percentage wise, I don't know. If you consider how many dentists there are compared to wrestlers, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I
Wait.
know is there's a dude who basically made his career off writing obituaries about wrestlers.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that puts it a little bit in perspective, doesn't it? I guess the last thing I'll bring up, even though I know nothing about it, but maybe you can talk about it, is that like the election primaries happened and New York got fucked or something.
Yeah, apparently a bunch of people were unregistered that had been registered the year before. I don't really know what happened.
So
but
they like couldn't vote.
Yeah, they couldn't vote in the primary because they
Great.
were suddenly not affiliated with the party.
Great. That's awesome.
Yep.
So
That's-
Hillary, right? She won?
Yes, she had been a huge lead in the polls for fucking months too, though. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like even close in the polls in terms of who was going to win. But that a lot of people couldn't vote in the primary is fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
Always fucked up.
You know, democracy.
Democracy. And there have been precedents for delegates being nullified in cases where there was clear disenfranchisement, though. So still sort of wait and see on if that happens or not.
Yeah,
Bernie
this is like a
was
brand
in a-
new thing.
yeah,
this
but
is like
Bernie
within the
was-
day.
Yeah, Bernie is also been super behind on delegates anyway. Like
Yeah.
his path to victory was super slim, and he again was never really leading at New York at all anyway. So I don't know. It's hard to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it shouldn't happen. That should not happen.
That's too bad. That's just like the system failing. And
Yeah.
that sucks. Because it's one thing when it's just like, no, like the majority of people don't like you. Like you suck. Just fuck off. But like when people are just like, wait, I got fucked out of like my right and stuff, that's fucked up. It's just bad. Bad mojo.
My favorite thing about the primary in New York, though, was that Ted Cruz lost to Ben Carson, which is fucking hilarious at this point in the election.
Yeah.
That is how little people in New York like Ted Cruz.
Great. That's pretty funny though. Oh well. Maybe one day we'll figure it out.
Quickly talking about political stuff, I read an article that was like a primer on what the alt-right, like neo-reactionary group is.
Okay.
Which is like political party sort of spawned out of 4chan in a large degree. And they're sort of behind the scenes of like being potentially big Trump supporters. And they're super into the idea of like tearing down the government for like a CEO. So like the idea of Trump dissolving democracy and declaring himself king is like what they're super into. And this is like a faction of people who exists, and that was cool to read about and learn about. That was fucking weird. They hate modernity. They think things were better with monarchies. Yeah, those people exist.
Awesome. That's so good. I guess I'll end it off with one last thing.
Okay.
Apparently, a dog that was believed to be the oldest dog in the world died.
Wow.
An Australian Kelpie by the name of Maggie passed away at the age of 30.
Wow. That old dog.
Yeah.
I wonder what that dog's life was like for the last, like,
15
5
years.
Yeah, like, by
Terrible.
the time it got super old and just kept going.
Yeah. No, terrible. Like, absolutely terrible. Honestly, I think that's, like, the best case scenario for... Like, that dog naturally probably should have died literally 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man.
So that sounds like a great note to end it on. Yay!
Yeah. Okay, so this is the time I'll take to, like, just shill some bullshit, I guess.
Alright.
Sundays. I am planning to make Sundays, like, for the Sundays I'm here and stuff. I'm gonna try weekly, but, like, obviously, if life comes up, it'll take some days off and stuff. Every Sunday will be a tabletop-centric day.
Nice.
Of some sort. So when we are not running an actual, like, one-shot or campaign thing for D&D, I'm thinking tabletop simulator games or, like, board game types of things, like even digital board games we'll be playing, that sort of thing. Getting a bunch of people together. I'll be in the Burning Barrel Steam group, like, the Monday before. I'll put up a thing saying, like, we're going to be playing X game on whatever, like Tabletop Simulator or Steam or this site or whatever. Whoever, like, wants in the first, like, 8 people or however many slots, like, can come, that sort of thing. And we'll do that. On days, or on weeks we don't do that, it will be me and, like, you if you want, whoever's, like, into RPGs, like Tony for sure when he's available, and Wolf when he's available, just to do, like, some, like, tabletop RPG, like, and maybe board games later, just, like, shop talk sort of thing, like a podcast sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
that all sounds great.
This Sunday, though, is going to just be talking. We're going to be talking about, Tony and I have been discussing some behind-the-scenes stuff about where Season 2 Yolotown is going to be going. It's not going to be spoilers for, like, literally where it's going, but, like, how it's going to be run, because some things are going to be changing. The second part, we'll be talking to Wolf a little bit about GURPS, the GURPS system, the generic, universal role-playing system or whatever. and like how we can use that to our advantage, what it is, how people can use it to like make their own games in whatever way they want, blah blah blah. And then the last part is we will be talking about a concept for an RPG rule set we've been making, and see who's interested in it. So that'll be fun.
That all sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds real cool.
If I can keep it up every Sunday, I will be super impressed. But I figured it's a good way to like kind of narrow all of that stuff down to one day, where it's just like, yo, if you like tabletop stuff, like this is a day that you should be here. I'm gonna try to make it on like the afternoons too, like maybe 2 or 3, like my time. So, people that are just bored and don't have anything to do, come be bored with us and play some board games. There you go.
Oh, no one has ever made that pun before.
Not a single person in the world has made that pun. Also, Dark Souls 3, some co-op. I think that's going to be the next thing I try to do regularly, like with whoever, because that game's fun. And like I said, I'm not going to stream my single playthrough of it, because it's just going to be people being bored of like me watching like either the same boss I can't get past or like grinding souls. Like it's just not going to be fun stuff. So solo or co-op, I think, is the way to go for watching people play that. So that'll be good. I don't think there's anything else. TDP. Oh yeah, like we never even mentioned this on TDP, but I'll mention it here. TDP is going to be weird because I work until 11 o'clock every night, my time now.
Yeah.
So, like, some nights, if they want to do a Thursday because they have to, I'll just be like, yeah, that's fine, I'll bow out. Otherwise, we're kind of doing an episode every week whenever we can. So it could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, it could be any time. And that's going to be rough. But, yeah. So, that's what's going on with that. This week, obviously, John won't be with us. He's at PAX. But that's kind of all that's been going on. I'm just more excited about talking about tabletop stuff. That's going to be super fun.
Yeah, that should be really good.
Yeah. But I think that does it for us.
Yep.
If people want, they can like send in questions and comments or news or whatever you want us to like talk about and stuff. I think podcast@burningbarrel.co still works. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have the password to that. A Burning Barrel on Twitter is where to get the podcast. Otherwise, I'm at Exposure, EXFAUXSURE. Homer is at Comic Panels. It's like so different than anything you use anywhere. But I can see why you would keep it. So
yeah.
And yeah, if like I said earlier, if you like stuff like Enter the Gungeon, Binding of Isaac, Rainbow Six Siege and stuff, I highly and you're up around this time if you're listening live, I highly suggest you check out our buddy Corey Flackblag on Twitch. He's a cool dude and he plays those things, and every now and then, most times you'll see a bunch of us in the community hanging out there as well, so don't be afraid to come by and just shoot the shit while watching some video games. It's a good time. Otherwise, thanks as always for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.
See ya. Bye.